think we're getting 30 days of jail.
That guy's...
Nope, we're back on.
Huh.
That's weird.
Hey, David, move your bread box from where it is.
How's that? No?
Yeah, we're good. It gets this little I hear. If wires are touching or something, I don't know.
My phone was right next to it. I don't know if that was it.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Morning, Spitz.
Top of the morning to you, laddie. Still basking in the glow of Tommy Smith's appearance.
Did you see the tweet that he sent?
We both just saw it.
Jolly good show.
Lads. He called us lads.
My day's made. Thank you, Adam.
Wow.
So I'm gonna act like I watch it, but I taped the whole game. My whole plan is to come home and watch it. Where's the one place you think no one's going to tell you the result of a soccer match? A country club in Southwest Florida full of old white men.
Oh, no. Patriotism.
No. Everybody's playing golf. No one, all of a sudden I walk upstairs. Shannon Steele goes, we won 1-0, man. It was a great. I looked at him. I went, are you kidding me?
We're coming back. Mark, it's the World Cup. Come on.
These are old white men.
USA, USA.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. On this final day of November, we ask the question, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks for being with us. Hope your week's going well. We'll get over the hump together, shall we? Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Feel good. Great morning. Excited about the day.
Wow, where'd this come from?
What do you mean? Why can't I have a positive attitude in the morning?
Well, I've known you for a long time. I mean, sometimes, glass half full, maybe 2/3 full, but I mean, you were expressing, can't wait for the rest of the day. I mean, that's not the Mark Miller I know. I mean, fired up for the show. I mean, I feel like if, this show can get you to about 11:30, 12 o'clock, I feel like we've done our job. After lunch, that's on you.
Well, and the rest of my day is planned out accordingly. So I'm in great shape. But this gets me to 11:30. That's going to be one hell of a day, David.
I mean, I'm guessing like Team USA won yesterday, and maybe you played golf pretty well.
Team USA won. I played golf okay.
Oh, all right.
But I'm playing again today. So, hey, today can be better.
Of course, today's going to be the day.
That's it.
For some reason, golf's kind of like, religion. They're just going forward. They keep dangling the carrot forward.
Less kneeling, but I see what you're saying.
Right. And, cost about the same, depending on your faith. I think I'll stop here. Miller and Moulton here.
Probably a good idea.
Probably good. And I definitely should stop here because apparently we're back on Facebook. All my phone calls yesterday. And, You know what? Maybe it's a listener who got us back on. Somebody who used to work for Facebook, listens to this show faithfully, sent me an email that said, "Hey, you mind if I look into this for you?" Knock yourself out, big fella.
I'm stunned at the level at which this bothered you. Because when I got a text from you later that, what have you done? I haven't done a damn thing about it. I'm not planning on doing a damn thing about it. If we're in Facebook jail for 30 days, so be it. 6 people access the show via Facebook. There is no smaller concern in the future of Miller and Moulton than getting back on Facebook, but it really bothered you.
It's not that it really bothered me. It's that this gentleman reached out to us and said, "Hey, do you mind if I do some digging? Maybe I can help." And he had a couple questions. And so that's why I asked you a couple questions. Hey, have you heard from them? Did they send us an official reason why? That was not for me. It was all to, try to give, our listener who wanted to help some information. But, as Paul says in our Twitch chat room, I called, about 6 different area codes of 867-5309, thinking that maybe one of those was Facebook. It wasn't. All right. There was a Bay Area number attached to Facebook. I called it. All right. I mean, I voiced my displeasure. I was not threatening. I figured that wouldn't work. They got enough of that in their life right now. So you said this morning, we're back. Okay.
We're back. Apparently, we can't communicate to anybody who accesses the show that way because Artie claimed that he's one of the 6 people that accesses our show via Facebook. And I saw the note right away, and I went to say thanks to him. And Facebook just told me, you have been temporarily blocked from performing this action. So they can watch us. We just can't communicate with them via messages.
Man, I feel like we've been sentenced to probation.
Yeah, David, I don't know. See, again, because you don't use this medium all that often, this is not that. This happens. Many people who have been banned for far longer for far less. Facebook jail is a real thing.
Huh. Wow. I'm learning something here. So in other words, in the future, when this happens again for no reason at all, I should just roll with it.
I think that's all right. But we're back, and that's all that matters. So you can access the show Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, anywhere on the Florida Sports Network. As yesterday, finally, I can chant USA again.
Wait, so not even during the draw with England were you chanting USA, USA? I mean, we outplayed them.
Exactly. But I was never chanting. I was still ticked off about the Wales game, if you want to know the truth, David.
I'll tell you, you took it to the golf course yesterday. You were still annoyed by that Wales result. Darn. Come on, Mark. We've played 3 matches. We've yet to lose. That's pretty good for the U.S. in men's soccer.
It is. It is. And they were tremendous yesterday in getting the win, moving past Iran. Now all of those players get to go home and see how terrible their lives are going to be from this point forward.
Gonna say. Well, at least they faked the anthem. I mean, they sang it enthusiastically, arm in arm. Sure, their hearts were totally in it. But best of luck to them, and best of luck to us against the Dutch. The Netherlands are next.
That's a tall order.
Yes. Yeah, they're pretty good at this. Very organized, very disciplined. They're just very good on set pieces, which we're not.
And they score.
They do.
Often.
They've got a knack.
And they're probably, that's the team, I don't support my heritage, if you will, because I'm a mutt. I'm a little bit of a bunch of things. I've always liked the Dutch because I like the way they play. They score. So I don't like our chances.
Now, what are you going to do, though, like as Johnny Mack in our Twitch chat room says, Mark, what are you going to do when we find out that the Netherlands are basically West Virginia in terms of size and scope? I mean, are you going to see, you're speaking all positively about the Netherlands. We can compare them probably to a middle of the road state here. You didn't accept the tie against a combination of New Hampshire and Connecticut. I'm just wondering, will you accept a 2-1 defeat at the hands of West Virginia?
Yes,
Okay.
I will, because of the history of how fantastic this nation is in these events. Wales, who has really no
right
history in the World Cup and didn't even belong in the damn thing.
Isn't like Woosnam the best thing to come athletically to come out of Wales?
Think about that for a second.
A beer guzzling, cigarette smoking. As Dan Patrick would say, beefy.
Definitely. And I'm a big Ian Woosnam fan just for that aspect of him. But
I love him for the club throwing when he found out that he had won too many clubs in his bag at the Open Championship in the final round when he was leading the tournament. And his caddy, when he was testing out 2 drivers on the range, and his caddy left both drivers in the bag, and he found out on the second tee. And he takes the driver that he sees that he didn't want, and he takes it, and he just throws it like a spear. And I'm like, now that's an experienced club thrower right there. That's my kind of guy. And he drinks beer, and you throw in an expletive or two. You can tell. Not only that, he does it with an accent, so it sounds cool.
The javelin throw is nice, though, but a helicopter is really the throw of pride. When you're going to let it go, it's got to go end over end, and you got to get a little.
But he was at the Open Championship, after all. I mean, the fact that he still went track and field for us, I thought was impressive.
Very much so. Very much so. As were the Americans yesterday, impressive in their 1-0 win over Iran. They move on, playing the Netherlands in the knockout round. So they advance, they get through group. I'm calm again.
Well, and that's important. That's very important. 10 a.m. Saturday, by the way. I mean, talk about a nice little weekend for us, a sports fan. I mean, let's face it, they're doing all this for us. I mean, this is just entertainment for us. And this is about the last go-around, folks. I mean, this is the last big college football weekend. I mean, when you really think about it. So this is, and then we have to give way to the Hallmark Channel and all those Christmas shows. I mean, you really need to embrace this. Friday night, Pac-12 Championship, 10 a.m. Saturday, U.S. World Cup, Netherlands, noon, Big 12 Championship. Can TCU hold on to their spot? We have an unbelievable weekend in the NFL. 6 games involving winning teams facing one another. 1 will take place tomorrow, but 5 on Saturday, or on Sunday, excuse me. So, this is like a big Hallmark, Christmas, one original show after another, Mark, is what we are being given.
You make a dadgum good point, though, is that it rolls right into, once this is over.
That's it.
Saturdays are.
Whoo. Yeah.
Christmas parties to go to. You've got
shopping
to do with your wife or significant other.
Right.
It starts getting serious for about 3 weeks after this, where you've really got to commit to your family. So make Saturday special.
Yes. And you know what? You might as well start with Bills Patriots tomorrow night. I mean, just claim as much territory as you can. From Thursday night right on through. And then you even got Brady and the Bucks playing Monday night. I mean, 2 lousy teams. But listen, you extend it as far as you can.
Division leader, what are you talking about?
I understand that. Brady was getting asked questions yesterday, and Brady wasn't even giving his own team any slack. He goes, no. There are no excuses. None. No excuses for how we're playing. No excuses for losing that game. There you go. I mean, it sounds good anyway. I mean, you guys don't look good, but at least you sound the part. Get a home playoff game out of the season anyway. I mean, you might be 8-9 hosting Dallas or Philly, but it's okay.
Tom, when you came back for the season, did you really think it would be this bad and you'd be divorced by Thanksgiving?
Tom, when you made the decision back in March, if I had told you this is how it was going to unfold, would you have come back?
Because you
Wow.
seem to be truthful today, and I would love to hear a truthful answer to that question.
Right. Was divorce on the table back in March when you were talking to Ronaldo? Yes or no? Miller and Moulton. Got another good show lined up for you today. At least we think so. Bud Elliott, a little more than an hour. Joe Zagacki, as we look back at year one for Mario Cristobal. Talk about a year not going as planned. And Seth Everett will join us as well. Starting 5's 25 minutes away. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I don't know. We got kicked off Facebook. I got us back on. I don't know why. I don't know if it's commercials that we're airing. I don't know what it is.
He says they're supposed to, like, let us know why.
I didn't get an email. If I did, I didn't see it. Oh, RCB, I disagree. Divorce? Might have thought he wasn't getting laid for a month, but I don't think he thought he was getting divorced if he played football. Unless that was way down the road already.
Tyrese Halliburton is playing like a young Chris Paul right now.
That's what I was thinking this morning when I woke up.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited about that.
You just made NBA history. Most assists in a 3-game span without a turnover.
Boy, you know, when I look up record books, that's usually the first page I go to.
Right? Yeah.
No, Paul, it didn't. No, it didn't. He made his decision to return in March.
Also, this Aaliyah Boston girl from South Carolina is really freaking good.
They came back for a nice win last night.
Yeah. Watching the tape right now. $15 seconds. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks for joining us on this hump day, the final day of November. How about that? Nothing but Hallmark specials from now through the end of the year.
We can tell David's back home and what's on TV at his home.
Got that right. Man, oh man, do I miss the soda and the chocolate chip cookies for breakfast being on the road.
I noticed this morning you were munching a banana instead of a cookie. I could tell you were back home.
I know. It sucks.
2 lives you live, the road life and the home life.
Yep.
And this isn't, you know, from days gone by where the road life, he has a whole nother life out there. No. This is just eating thing. This has nothing to do with anything more than food.
No, I definitely don't have another life on the road. I just have another, way to kill the time during the day. That's eating. Different carbs. That's really what my life is. I've got, carbs at home, carbs on the road. They're very different carbs. That's all I'm saying. Mark, my day was made complete by 8 o'clock last night. That's when the college football playoff committee show was done. And sometimes it's not just the rankings, it's the quotes that go with the rankings that you just need to follow. And my favorite is that Ohio State was placed 5th. and Alabama 6th. And since neither team plays again in the regular season, one would think that Ohio State's in the on-deck circle to make the playoff if someone falters.
Right.
So when Boo Corrigan, is that his name? When he was asked, basically, so it looks like Ohio State's in the on-deck circle, right? He said, no, not necessarily. I'm sorry, what? Well, there are games to be played this weekend that could affect how it is we feel about Ohio State and Alabama, which, of course, made me want to follow up and go, yes, but do any of those games involve Ohio State or Alabama?
That's why they don't let you ask questions during that show, David.
No, it's why I'm kept at home in a room with the door locked.
All right. It is fascinating that they can think that will change. I mean, it's even as fascinating as that they think Alabama's one spot better than Tennessee, given the fact that those two teams played and Tennessee won.
They have the same record, yes. But, Mark, we go through the polls all the time. I mean, isn't LSU ranked ahead of Florida State? They're both 9-3. Florida State beat them on a neutral field, which just happened to be in New Orleans.
That's in the polls, though. Committee got it right. Florida State's 13, LSU's 14. They got that one right. So, Ohio State, and look at TCU has no margin for error. I don't care what anyone says. TCU's two best wins, according to the playoff committee, if you look at their standings, are Kansas State, who's ranked 10th, Texas, who's ranked 20th. If they lose, they will have then lost to number 10, Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
The Buckeyes' best wins are number 8, Penn State, that won't move, and number 21, Notre Dame, with their loss coming to number 2, Michigan.
But I'm just going to say this out loud, and you tell me if this sounds strange. So let me get this straight. A team not playing this weekend can benefit because a team that did so well during the regular season is forced to play this weekend, and if they lose, they could be out. So in other words, what if TCU and USC just said, you know what, we're not going to play. We're going to rest on our laurels. We're going to post the 12-0 and the 11-1, and we're going to say, you decide whether or not we're one of the 4 best. You can award the Big 12 and Pac-12 championships to K-State and Utah for all we care. Yeah, I don't care. We're just going to leave our 12-0 and our 11-1 on the board, and we're going to wait till next Sunday at noon, and you tell us whether we're in or out. I mean, aren't TCU and USC our son that we always talk about? If either one of us, okay, and you have a son, but he's not an elite college athlete who's going to go on to play professionally. But you have spoken about if Jake was one of those athletes, and you have said that heading into his final year of eligibility, okay, we would have kidnapped him.
Pre-NIL, I would have run on to this radio show and talked about all the illegal payments that we received.
Correct.
I would have made them up
Yes.
if need be.
And I would have backed you. We would have made sure we got our story straight.
And therefore, he would have been ruled ineligible. I could have taken him to IMG, where he would have worked out for a year and not had the chance of injury, go on to get drafted and make the big check.
Right. Because what's the only thing that could happen to him if he comes back and plays his final year? He gets hurt. He doesn't get drafted highly. He doesn't get the big check. Aren't TCU and USC your son heading into his senior year?
Yes.
Don't they need to be kidnapped?
100%. And David, I really adore you. You are a special human being. Because I don't think there's a radio show in the country today that's going to say, if I were USC, I just wouldn't play. No. I'm not faulting you. It is original thought. It is a great thought. And I find it hilarious because you're right. The only bad thing that can happen by playing this game is them losing. They have everything to lose, nothing to gain from this game, because right now they're in the playoff according to the playoff committee.
I know you could tell me, well, they could improve their seeding. Yeah, not as much as they could hurt it.
No, they couldn't.
I mean,
if USC and TCU both win, what, they going to flip them?
No. They're going to stay
where
where they are.
TCU's going to have a donut.
Right. Right. I just, please tell me, I know you can win a conference championship. Like, it's all about the playoff. It's all about the playoff. Honestly, think about it. As someone points out in our Twitch chat room, imagine if USC just said, you're not going to believe this. We have a COVID outbreak. We can't play.
But we'll
What
be
would
better
happen?
by Monday.
Well, and certainly by Tuesday, we'll be back practicing. Who are we playing? Where are we going? No, I'm serious. What if you're TCU and USC? I mean, hey man, we got mechanical problems on the plane. We can't get there. I don't know what to tell you.
And at least USC is playing a team that beat them. So there's the split factor. TCU's got to beat K-State for the second time. They already proved that they're a better team than K-State. That's the point of the regular season. And now, here we go, a rematch.
So I feel badly for TCU and USC, to be honest with you. I mean, Ohio State and Alabama can both sit home and put their feet up and make the playoff. And yet two teams who are deemed better than them, have had a better season than them, have to go and win one more game to stay ahead of them. Why? Why?
Well, and the fact that Alabama's there bothers me. And I get that their history and all those things. They've beaten 24 ranked Mississippi State and have lost 2 games. Be it to 2 ranked teams, 7-14.
Right. They beat 20th ranked Texas there and 24th ranked Mississippi State. Right. Right. Now, I will say, I think their schedule all in all, and you can go by just look. I mean, the SEC's got 6 teams ranked. I mean, the Big Ten's got 3. Now they're all in the top 10, but that's it. And if that means anything, the Pac-12's got 6 teams ranked, by the way. That's the other thing USC can say. Be like, for goodness sakes, we got as many ranked teams as the SEC. I got to win another one? No, I don't think so. I'm staying home. You vote. You guys vote on Sunday. TCU and I, we're staying home. Who are you putting in the playoff?
Sure we can't get to 12 sooner?
All depends on the Rose Bowl, Mark. We'll have that story coming up.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. The starting 5 is on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'd pay for the Brady book, KW. I wouldn't pay for the Belichick book. Because I actually think Brady, I think if you get Brady in the right mood, he'd be forthcoming. I don't think Bill would. By the way, the old ball coach only won one championship. It was the rematch. Well, I will say, Adam, to not have both Ohio State and Alabama is damaging to the television product. I mean, those are the two biggest draws in the sport. And there's no doubt if you were to give the committee truth serum, they would want TCU to lose. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Move USC up to 3, put Ohio State in at 4. Think about the two semifinals.
Yep. USC, Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia.
Oh. Huh. KW, I don't understand when you said we tried to cheat. What, you couldn't pull it off?
I did not go out. I actually played golf, taped the match, came home and watched it.
I watched it in the
30
Atlanta
seconds.
airport.
People go nuts when we scored.
No,
Really?
no. Just kind of nice 20-footer for birdie clap.
Wow.
Damn.
There was a bigger noise when we scored the second goal, which they waved off.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott 1 hour from now. Joe Zagacki to start our 8 o'clock hour. Seth Everett 2 hours from now. That's how we roll. here on Miller and Moulton. Still basking in the glow. No, not just from the U.S. advancing in the World Cup. We got a great tweet from Tommy Smith thanking us for inviting him on the show. Said he loved being on with those two lads. Oh my
Can't help but read it in his accent, too. That's the best part about it.
Mark and I are both rereading the tweet over and over again, making the accent thicker and thicker every time we read it. It's amazing. Heck, we're trying to get him back on for Friday since the U.S. has to play again on Saturday, which leads us right into the
starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
USA 1-0 over Iran. They needed to win to advance. They got it. Pulisic taking one for the team. What did Tommy Smith say, Mark? Putting it in the sack? What?
Putting it in the onion bag.
That's it.
The back of the onion bag.
Pulisic buried one into the back of the onion bag in the 38th minute. Got hurt doing it. Left after halftime. He was in a hospital when we won. He says, don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be there Saturday. That's when the U.S. plays the Netherlands in the knockout round. Win or go home time. But at least the U.S. made it to the knockout round. College football. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, your top 4. Now, we all knew that was coming. Ohio State gets the 5th spot over Alabama at 6. And yet somehow, some way, the committee chairman says there's still a chance for Alabama to leapfrog Ohio State. Mark, I'm curious. Who's Alabama playing this weekend?
Idle.
Who's Ohio State playing this weekend?
Also playing idle.
Well, one would think that each would get the same amount of credit for a win over Idle.
You would think.
By the way, is that Billy or American? Which Idol are they playing?
Billy.
Oh.
Little tougher. Plays with a rebel yell.
The Rose Bowl has finally been given the deadline that Miller and Moulton, for one, and I think many of you as well, would have given the Rose Bowl many years ago. Today's the deadline. Get your together and agree to the terms, or we're going to do this college football playoff without you.
Would have done it 5 years ago, easy.
Oh,
maybe longer ago.
So, because the folks who are running college football, they want to start this 12-team playoff in 24. So they're like, listen, time's running out. We got to go. And they're not keeping this ultimatum a secret either. All right. We want the Rose Bowl. We have a good partnership with the 6 bowls. We want to continue that. I hope the Rose Bowl will be a part of it, but there's no guarantee. $450 million, by the way, they lose if they can't get this thing started in 24. And they have to wait till 26. So, like this year, the Rose Bowl, what they're trying to say is, well, sure, we'll be a part of this, but we got to get one of the 3 big games every year. One of the 2 semis or the championship. And the committee's going, yeah, that's not how it works. See, we got 6 of you. Okay, we rotated amongst the 6 of you. If you're not one of the 6, you're irrelevant. I mean, let's just face it, you are. So what do you want to be? You want to be irrelevant? You can still have your parade. We could still send you, think about when we go to 12. We'll be sending you what? The 5th best team for the Big Ten and the 4th best team for the Pac-12? That'll be a hell of a game. Be a hell of a game. What would that game be this year? I mean, believe it or not, the 4th best team.
Purdue.
No, you're not far off. Purdue, I think technically is 4, right? They won the West. They got to be 4. So Illinois would be the 5th best team, right? This year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go Illinois.
Maybe Iowa.
Illinois, UCLA would be the Rose Bowl this year. And in future years. That's essentially what the game would be getting. So that's their ultimatum. Today, apparently, they have to give their answer. I actually think the Rose Bowl is arrogant enough to say, I dare you.
And
Bill-
college football will laugh because there'll be 74 other bowls that would be jumping up and down to take their spot.
A source told ESPN, it's not an ultimatum. No, it is an ultimatum, but it's not a threat. And I think the difference is really how you take it, right? Well, Mark, this South Florida job, it must be a fairly big deal, bigger than we thought it was, because, man, do we have a bunch of people with conflicting reports. We got one report yesterday that said it's that Chatwell guy from Coastal Carolina. We got our buddy J.P. Peterson, 90% it's Dion. $5 million a year for 5 years. He gets $5 or $7 million to hire his coaches, and he's in total control of the program. It's 90% done. You got Matt Baker comes out going, yeah, there's no coach that's been hired. It's nobody.
I'll believe Matt Baker.
So, but that's when you know it's a job. I mean, we got, my scoop, your scoop, my story, your story. So there you have it.
And you and I still both think this is a good job as far as group of 5 teams go.
I'm not sure there'd be a better one. This should be the best non-Power 5 job in the country.
Going forward, we're not saying anything about you. UCF's going to
Right.
the Big 12. Cincinnati's going to the Big 12. So
Right.
going forward is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think going forward, like, SMU, is Houston going forward into the Big 12? I forget. I don't think so. I think they're left out. The 4 teams going in. It's UCF, Cincinnati, BYU. Who's the 4th?
Thought it was Houston.
Okay, if it's Houston. So SMU is the one left out. Honestly, USF and SMU should be competing to be who's the best group of 5 team in the country. So Georgia Tech promoted their interim head coach, Brent Key. He went 4-4. So they gave him the job. And by the way, Mark, there's a report from Pete Thamel that Trent Dilfer is going to be the next head coach of UAB. Yes, that Trent Dilfer. And for those that don't know, after he left ESPN, he went into high school football, Lipscomb Academy in Nashville. And he's been kicking butt for a few years. This year, they're undefeated. They're playing for the state championship this weekend. But apparently, he's going to coach that game and then become the next head coach of UAB. Oh, how about that? Good for him. Tulane, by the way, 18th, highest ranked group of 5 team. UCF 22nd. And so it's all but assured the winner of the AAC title game is going to get a New Year's 6 bowl bid. Florida State 13th in the final, second to last bowl anyway. Notre Dame 21st. In the NFL, Mark, the Dolphins must be a big deal. They got one of their games flexed into prime time. The game that we circled back in May. The who should have been drafted ahead of who bowl. Tua or Herbert? Dolphins, Chargers. Not this Sunday, but next. That'll be your December 11th primetime game, baby, on NBC. Aaron Rodgers says he's going to play Sunday against the Bears. Got some good news about his injury. And the Bears are like, oh, that's just great. What's your lifetime record against us again?
364-0.
Von Miller says, listen, I can't play tomorrow against the Patriots, but I think I can play a week from Sunday against the Jets. He did say I've got some damage to the lateral meniscus of my knee, and it'll have to be fixed after the season, but I think I can be back here pretty soon. I'll say this, Bills need him. Bills are beginning to fall apart a little bit. A little bit. And Josh Allen with all those red zone turnovers. Can't win the MVP, buddy, if you keep turning it over inside the 20. That's all I'm saying. Odell Beckham Jr., Mark, here's his interview schedule. Giants tomorrow. Bills on Friday. Cowboys Monday. Von Miller swears he's not going to let Odell Beckham leave Buffalo on Friday. They're good friends. They just won a Super Bowl together with the Rams. Von Miller's convinced once he comes to Buffalo, that's it. He won't leave.
I'm just curious what you're getting with Odell Beckham. This is 2 ACLs on the same knee.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back in short time, quite frankly, for your second ACL injury. What is there in the tank? And I'm more concerned about what's in the tank for the rest of this year. You know, I've read a few things where there are a lot of people that think really and truly he should sit out if he wants to play, sit out the rest of this year, fully heal. But that's not going to happen.
Also, you have to remember, Odell, didn't he take all his salary with the Rams in the crypto? And didn't he take it in the crypto company that just went bankrupt? I mean, I honestly believe that Odell played for the Rams and he might have lost money because of how he accepted payment.
Regardless, even if he took it in Bitcoin, he lost a lot of money.
One other football note, former Gator and current Eagle, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he lacerated his kidney Sunday against the Packers. Needless to say, he's going to be out a while. How painful does that sound, by the way?
Doesn't sound fun.
No.
How does one lacerate their kidney? What that's the play I want to see. How does that even happen?
Well, I mean, it's kind of lower left or lower right here. It's in the front. I guess you could be hit a certain way.
It's a hard hit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. College hoops, you know, you got that Big Ten ACC challenge. It's the last one, too, because, well, ESPN can't show anything Big Ten beginning next year. So that's why it's going to become the ACC SEC challenge. So last one for bragging rights, Mark. ACC went 2-0 on Monday. The two conferences split the 6 games last night. So the ACC's at 5, the Big Ten's at 3. Then they play it out, I think, today and tomorrow. By the way, in-state, South Florida lost again at home to UMass, 73-67. Brian Gregory's team is 2-6. He needs to start going to the grocery store, grabbing some cardboard. Okay, just, stash it for a few months from now. And you need that to move. UNF beat Trinity Baptist by 41 at home. And, Mark, I don't want to say that Stetson overwhelmed a school called Johnson in the state of Florida, but they won by 74. This game was rescheduled, too. Imagine that if you're Johnson. You had to reschedule a 74-point loss.
I wouldn't want my Johnson playing Stetson. Not if they're going to beat you like that.
Step all over you. NBA 3 games last night. Knicks beat the Pistons by 30. Julius Randle had 36 on his birthday. Luka at 41. Jason Kidd said this is getting boring. Dallas edged the Warriors 116-113.
Because Golden State doesn't win on the road.
No, they don't. It's an NBA rule this year. All right.
Wow.
And the Clippers were down 13 going to the fourth in Portland. Came back and won by 6. 118-112. Mark, the Warriors may not win on the road, but the Bruins don't lose at home.
No, they do not.
And I'm talking to the tune of 13-0. They beat the Lightning 3-1 last night. Calgary 6-2 over Florida. Huberdeau scored against his former team. Carolina beat Pittsburgh in overtime. Winnipeg shut out Colorado. Philly snapped the 10-game skid, beat the Islanders. San Jose shut out Montreal. Nashville edged Anaheim in overtime. Alex Ovechkin scored 2, Mark. He's got 793. He's 101 behind Gretzky. Washington beat Vancouver. And yes, this is a hockey score. The Kraken beat the Kings 9-8 in overtime. Oh, yeah, Tiger Woods said we could negotiate something with the LIV, but Greg Norman's got to go. And he used those words. Greg's got to go. And that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
It sounds like The PGA Tour, though, is ready to negotiate with Live Golf. They need Norman out. They need lawsuits dropped to Norman. They're talking about it incessantly. So it seems that they want something. We shall see. Miller and Moulton. Bud Elliott in 35 minutes time right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, that play reminds me of that. Remember the This Is Sports Center commercial?
Yes.
It takes place in an office. There's one. It's like DeAndre Jordan, like talking to a bouncer, trying to get in the top 10 plays club. It's like, yeah, DeAndre Jordan, I was in for a dunk last night. And then there's like a bass playing, and then he walks in, and it's just like a boring break room office party, and like the bass is coming from like a guy banging the drums, part of a band. And he's talking to a high school kid. He's like, yeah, Evermore High School. I hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer, full court. It was pretty awesome. DeAndre Jordan's just like, yeah, cool. Those commercials are genius. I love those.
So about every 30 minutes, Facebook throws us off.
Oh, that's happening?
I just put us back on. It just happened again. I can't explain it. I don't know what we did.
Well, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, either we're on or we're off. KW, I think this is going to be the World Cup that most everyone tries to forget. Almost they're going to pretend like it didn't happen. It'll be like if TCU wins the national championship.
Funny.
Did you see the one American fan got thrown out of the game because he had a rainbow thing on his arm?
Really?
He had USA stuff all over him.
Yeah.
And what have you, but we had one rainbow like armband. And it wasn't big either. They threw him out. I'm guessing it's not cheap to get the guitar.
Well, that's the thing. You want to go protest, you're spending a lot. I mean, these fans, and they don't look like they're uber rich. They obviously are got some money. They've been saving up for a while to do this. I like the American fan that just bangs on the damn drum for 90 minutes every game.
How do you think Qatar, the government, would have handled the vuvuzelas?
What do you mean? They were going strong yesterday, weren't they?
Were they?
What was that
Is that
noise
what they
I heard?
were?
I thought that was vuvuzela.
I didn't.
Heard that the pathetic noise the whole game.
You want to know something funny? I was just thinking about Mike McDaniel, and I wanted to know how old he was. So I asked my Siri, "How old is Mike McDaniel?" and it gave me another one. So then I asked, "How old is the head coach of the Miami Dolphins?" and it said Brian Flores is 41.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what happens when you're afraid to type something.
Quick action.
But how quick was it?
And I still don't know how old Mike McDaniel is.
Right, exactly. Congratulations.
39. That really took a long time.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to type Mike MC.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. It also happens to be the final day of November of 2022. Hope your week is going well. Thanks for spending part of it with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott in 35 minutes. Joe Zagacki looking back at, a year one that we certainly didn't think was going to go the way it did with the Miami Hurricanes and Mario Cristobal.
Remember when they were picked to win their side of the ACC?
Remember when they were picked to at least be bowl eligible? Man. First time, by the way, in the modern era, three preseason top 25s, not even bowl eligible. A&M, Miami.
Sparty.
There you go. Sorry, Mark.
Oh, I didn't blow the 28-3 lead or whatever it was against Indiana. It means nothing to me.
I'm not holding you responsible. I'm just sorry for bringing it up. That's all.
Not one bit. That's part of life. Can we talk about the Live Golf PGA Tour thing for a moment?
You want to do that now?
Well,
I'm just warning you. Okay, we've got a few people who've been letting us know that their PGA lived out, but you and I are not two of those people.
Well, give me 4 minutes then.
Go.
Because Rory coming out and being the spokesperson is fantastic. But Rory's not Tiger.
Correct.
And Tiger jumping on Rory's bandwagon of getting rid of Greg Norman when there was the talk of the tailor-made golf guy coming onto the Live Golf Tour
as CEO,
it seems the timing of this, it's almost as if, and I don't think it's contrived, but it's almost as the timing of this is working out perfectly, David, because if they're going to merge this at some point, Norman does. It's obvious they're not going to do any mergers. They're not going to do any business with Greg Norman running that tour. He's the Antichrist to the PGA Tour. They all hate him equally.
Okay.
Do you think Live Golf is going to get rid of Greg Norman in the near future? And by near future, in the next 6 months.
Okay. Is moving him upstairs getting rid of him?
No.
Then no, I don't think so at all. Remember, he's being paid to do the dirty work. He's being paid to take the hate. I mean, so he's doing his job. It's kind of like, Roger Goodell, when we yell at Goodell and Goodell laughs. A, I'm making $60 million, and B, what do you think my job is? My job is to make sure that you guys are not yelling at the 31 owners and the Green Bay Packers. That's my job. So no, I don't. Here's my thing, by the way, and I'm waiting for someone from the LIV side to say, fine, you want Norman out of the room? We want Jay Monahan out. Because we feel the same way about him as you guys feel about our guy. Just so you know. That's what I'm waiting for. I mean, you hate our guy. We think your guy's a buffoon. And by the way, your guy hates us so much, he won't even return a phone call. Here's the funny thing, Tiger, Rory, you guys want to talk with us. He won't.
And never had, just didn't even acknowledge the tour as the thing came up and bit him on the behind.
So, and if I was the LIV, I also might throw in a joke here in which I'd say, well, listen, since Tiger and Rory are running the tour, why do we need Monahan anyway?
Hey, I think getting Monahan out's not as difficult as you think. I really think if those were the precursors to get it done, I don't think it's as hard as.
Well, first off, I think there's a chance that Jay Monahan loses his job before Greg Norman does. They may get Norman out of the room first, but I think there's a chance that Jay Monahan loses his business card before Norman does.
I'm surprised he still has. I mean, you and I are quite frankly, I think a little surprised he's still the commissioner of the tour.
And I think he is in name only. Because I do think Tiger Woods is the commissioner of the tour, and Rory's his vice president, who's just taking an active role because Tiger's having trouble walking.
All right.
By the way, that's also what Tiger said yesterday. If you're interested in Tiger Woods, Tiger said there's not a golf shot in the world I can't hit. I just can't walk. But he did make a cryptic comment in which he said there's not much left in the one leg. So there's no doubt that Tiger is wrestling with his golfing mortality. He said, my hope is to play about 4 to 6 events a year, the 4 majors and maybe a couple of others. And he goes, and hopefully one of these days I can play my way into contention and I'll remember how it is to win. So, I mean, I will say Tiger gave us more than 6 seconds of truth yesterday.
Well, his truth, because Tiger has always been a bit of a sandbagger when it comes to injuries and how he is. So I think there's a little more in that one leg than Tiger may be hinting at because it's part of the narrative to me.
One other thing, and I know we're going a little over 4 minutes. We're going like 5.5. Tiger, see, somebody brought up Phil yesterday and said, hey, believe it or not, do you guys owe Phil a little debt of gratitude? Because he brought up what he brought up, and now look at all the money you guys are making for these events. And Tiger shut that down and said, no. And he said back in the pandemic year, we had to take out a big loan just to stay afloat. And the PGA Tour quickly put together a release that said, no, wasn't a loan. We just dipped into our reserves. And Phil then released a statement and said, it's actually one of the times in which I agree with the PGA Tour because just take a look at their tax returns. And he said, the $800 million here and this, that, and the other thing, pretty good for a not-for-profit. All right. And then somebody was taking him on and he said, it's all available via Google. I mean, it's all right there. So, by the way, what is it? Phil made about $140 million last year. Is that what it turned out to be? With put it this way, the LIV Tour congratulated him. Way to go, Phil, with a picture of Phil smiling. They put 138 million underneath it. All right. That's it.
That's it. We're done.
We're done. But Tiger's not playing this week in the Hero Championships. He's going to try to play in the, what
match.
The match. I mean, he can ride a kart in that. And he also can ride a kart in what used to be the father-son. It's now the father-child. Grandfather-child. PNC is what they call it.
Exactly.
So he's going to play in those two events because he can drive a kart. And then probably the Masters, I guess, would be it, right?
So there's a little golf.
Yeah. There you go.
It was in the news yesterday. I know, like you said, people have we are into this story much deeper than others.
No doubt.
It was in the news yesterday, and it is Tiger Woods after all.
Mm-hmm.
He's
correct.
kind of a big deal.
Right. He doesn't speak publicly all that often anymore. And he doesn't play golf publicly, unfortunately, much anymore, and probably won't for the rest of his days. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, as we all expected, the top four, and in that order. Ohio State got the valuable number 5 slot if, in fact, TCU or USC lose. Our question is, why should TCU and USC even get off the bus? If they literally stayed at home and said to the committee, nope, I got my 12-0. You tell me the 4 that should go in the playoff. We're not playing. We forfeit. How about that? We forfeit.
Well, now see, then if there was a forfeit, it would be a loss. That's why the COVID outbreak. That's why the COVID outbreak one works so much better, because the game's canceled. You keep your same record. Because if it was a forfeit, they'd figure out a way to put Ohio State ahead of them. I'm just telling you, David. This committee wants to get Ohio State or Alabama in, and I love I love that you came up with this idea. I give you all credit for this, and you deserve all credit. It is your idea to not show up for the game.
No, don't need to. Let me get this straight. We're in if we don't play. Why should we play? I purchased a cartoon, and it's actually framed, and I had it on the wall in my old place, in which it's two people out golfing, and the one person asked the other, what's this game all about? And they said, well, the less you hit it to get it in the hole, the better you do. And the one person goes, interesting. Then why hit it at all? And the person who's a golfer is wandering out, as the sun is setting, wondering, why should I even hit this ball at all? And that's kind of how I feel if I'm USC and TCU. Oh, why should we even play? We're in already. We're in. Why should we play? Ohio State and Alabama can get in if we play? Well, I don't want them in. I want to be in. So we're not going to play. So there. Now, with that reasoning, and I know, I'm an idiot. But with that reasoning, let's just say they both lose. The committee meets next week. Shouldn't somebody in the room stand up and say, so let me get this straight. If they didn't play, they would have been in. So because they were so good that they earned an extra game, we're going to penalize them for losing it. And we're going to reward the teams who were not good enough to play the extra game? I'll sit back and wait for your answer.
And when we go to 12 and divisions are eliminated, conference championships, and the second place team could get knocked out of the playoff by playing in the championship game.
See, I like, this. Gary Danielson brought this up years ago, and he mentioned it again when he came on our show on Monday, in which he's like, are they going to have to start using this conference championship weekend and even these games as sort of like the first round? Are you almost, I don't know, going to have to call them something else and just have them basically be the play-in games? But he knows it won't happen because we're going to get buys and we're going to get home fields and all that. But let's just go for I know we don't have enough time, and this is something that probably takes more than 30 seconds. But think forward 2 to 4 years. What would this weekend be? What is it going to become? And is it going to become a good thing, or is it going to seem unnecessary?
We'll advance this because I want our audience to think about the National Football League and how they end their season and begin the playoffs. And imagine if they put a division championship game before the playoffs started.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Clemson loses to South Carolina, they drop a spot. LSU loses to A&M, they drop 9. How about this? You're Oregon. You lose to Oregon State. It's a top 20 team on the road. You dropped 7 spots. It's good to be Clemson.
Well, I mean, they do have South Carolina ranked 18th or whatever.
Yeah, but remember, they were unranked last week when they lost to them. No, Tunsil's terrific, Klicko. Tunsil's like an all-pro tackle. He's just playing on a team that's horrible. I know, Hops. It was on the wall in my old house. Oh, Klecko, Tiger definitely deserves the podium. He was underpaid. And Phil, by the way, said it for 15 years. And for most of those 15 years, he hated the guy. Oh. How about that Kraken Kings game? 9-8 in overtime. Man, oh man.
Right.
The 1980s Smythe division once. It's like, shit, that's impressive.
This is really weird. It kicks us off. StreamYard just tells me it's off. Hit this button and it redoes it. Strange.
10 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for waking up with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott to join us, a little more than 15 minutes. Top of the hour, Joe Zagacki, voice of the Canes. Looking back on a very disappointing Mario Cristobal year one and where it is he thinks they go from here. And Seth Everett to join us a little more than an hour as well.
So, as you were saying, and going to this college football playoff, I mean, could you imagine if after the season was over in the NFL, the two leading teams in the division had to play one another just to get into the playoffs? It wouldn't make any sense. And as we expand this regular season, we're going to get to 12 playoff teams. I know they're not going away because they're a huge money grab, but the conference championship games are going to become completely irrelevant.
Well, let's just...
except for the bad teams.
Well, there you go. Now, here's the thing. If they kept their divisions,
right,
I actually believe that the conference championship games would have tremendous value. Because think about it. Purdue can't get in the playoff, but they could if they beat Michigan, because what's the rule that's going to go in place? The 12 teams are not going to be made up of the top 12 teams in our rankings. It's going to be the 6 best conference champions based on rankings, and then 6 wild cards. So Michigan would turn into a wild card, which would take away a valuable playoff spot from, could be a Washington, could be, Utah, Mark, actually has a chance to you could argue going forward they would have two bites at the apple. They win, they get one of the 6 guaranteed conference championship spots. They may even get to host a game. They lose, they might actually sneak in as the last wild card because they're 11th in the polls, and they'd be losing to number 4 on a neutral field.
Look at K-State.
Right.
K-State has no shot to get in. They're a really nice football team. They've had a hell of a year, but they have no shot to get into the college football playoff.
But in theory, going forward, they would, because they can win the conference championship game and be one of the 6 automatics. But you're right. They're 10th in the poll. Now, then again, could they get 2 bites at the apple going forward? Like Utah, who's 11th. Hey, I can win the game and get in. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I can lose the game and be the last team to get an at-large. But going forward, what do all these conferences say they're going to do? They're eliminating divisions. Pac-12's already done it. All right, Big Ten and SEC say they're going to do it. We're not going to get the Purdue's and the Illinois and the LSU's, quite frankly, of the world. LSU would not be 2 years from now, 4 years from now, whenever it is. The SEC championship game would be Georgia, Tennessee. LSU
Or
Tennessee.
Georgia, Alabama. Based on these rankings, it would be Georgia, Alabama.
But I think the reason it would be Georgia, Tennessee is within the SEC, they would have their standings. Georgia would have been unbeaten. Alabama, Tennessee, and LSU all would have had 2 conference losses. My guess is the way they're going to have their tiebreaker is they're going to have the first formula will be what? Head-to-head. Since Tennessee beat both Bama and LSU, I think Tennessee would have gotten in the game.
I'm willing to make you a bet right now that how they put this is going to, how the conference championships are going to go is going to be the 2 highest ranked teams in the playoff committee. I don't think they're going to do the tiebreakers you're talking about.
I think they're going to do it the way the AAC tiebreaker was. Remember, we were discussing whether or not UCF could get in or not, but remember what the first tiebreaker was. It was head-to-head when it's 2. It was if all 3 teams had played one another, who had the best record. If all 3 teams hadn't played one another, then it was rankings. And so I'm going with that formula that I think the SEC will do the same. In this instance, they all played each other. You just take who has the best record. Tennessee would have gone. But yes, how funny also would that be?
Because I do think what I'm talking about is a possibility.
Yes.
Because they want the best game.
Correct. But within the conference, I think you'd have some revolt as to, well, hold on a second. If I beat the 2 teams I'm tied with, why do I not go? But anyway, going forward, no divisions. The little guy is not going to have a chance to do what? Like in March Madness, you steal a bid. Remember the week before the bids? What is it? Bid stealers. What games do, if your team's on the bubble, what conference championship games do you need to pay attention to?
I mean, arguably the greatest upset run in NCAA tournament history was NC State. They don't get in unless they steal a bid in the ACC tournament. It doesn't happen.
UConn as well. You know, when they won 11 straight, they had to win 5 games of the Big East tournament, and then they went on their roll. They don't get in unless they win their way in. But like the big 2 to 4 years from now, the Big Ten championship game will be Michigan, Ohio State. The top 2 in the standings. So they will have played to end the regular season. They'd play again the next week. And then, you know, let's just, for sake of argument, it's Georgia, Tennessee. My question to you, Mark, would Georgia and Michigan, could they lose their top 4 seedings if they lose going forward? See, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think they would reward the winner of the rematch and put them above the team that won the first time around. And so literally, what are Georgia and Michigan playing for going forward in this game? If all they're getting is a rematch with, you know, go with my tiebreaker in this one. It'd be Michigan, Ohio State again, but say it's Georgia, Tennessee again. And Georgia's looking around going, we just beat these guys a month ago. Got to play them again.
The only way it would ever come up is if the first game's a classic. and the road team loses. I mean, really, you have to draw up that scenario. It's a classic game. The road team loses, and on a neutral field, they win, and then maybe it could switch seedings. But not in the scenario we're talking about this year, particularly in the SEC, when all these schools have 2 losses.
Now, the Pac-12 championship game would be interesting. It's USC, who 2 to 4 years, well, they're not going to be in the conference, but play along. USC's in. Even if they lose, they're in. It's just a matter of, are they getting a bye or are they hosting a first-round game? But Utah would probably be in if they didn't play the game. But if they lose the game, do they play their way out?
Right.
Same with Kansas State in the Big 12 title game. They're in as a last wild card if they don't play the game. But if they lose it, are they out? And you got teams like Washington and Florida State sitting back going, if the right teams win, are we going to sneak into this thing?
And I know many of you think 4 is fine and that 8 would be better. But I will say, figuring out who's going to be 11, 12, and then 13 and 14, I think will be fascinating going forward. And we care about all these teams. This is not like teams 67, 68, 69, 70 making the NCAA tournament.
Well, and also, I will say the conference championship games that will really mean something going forward, the AAC, the Mountain West, a Conference USA, a Sun Belt, because one of those conference champions is going to get that 6th conference championship spot as the best non-Power 5 champion. I mean, listen, how big is the AAC championship game this weekend 2 to 4 years from now? Winner of Tulane and UCF is in the playoff, baby.
And in theory, gets Ohio State or Alabama at their place.
Well, I don't think they're getting home games. I think they'd get seeded 12th and they'd have to go on the road.
No, they'd have to go to Ohio State or Alabama.
Okay. Yes.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but if you're UCF, come on. Like, you wouldn't like – how rich, by the way, would it be if they finally play Alabama? They show up with 2018 signs. Finally, we get our game.
Miller and Moulton. We'll discuss the college football playoff and championship weekend with Bud Elliott. He's next, right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Morning, bud.
Morning, guys. What you up to?
You know, this radio show thing.
Yep.
How'd your holiday go?
It was pretty good. Kids, Maggie and I all were sick. First time all year I got sick, so disappointing. But it was it was actually like I lost my voice on Thursday. So
yes, I was following you on Twitter, and didn't you had to sit out the one podcast, right?
I did. Yeah. I was like, I can't do this one, guys. I also had to cancel my my CBS News hit, which is, I guess it's good exposure if you care about that, but I don't know. I mean, it's CBS News Digital, so I don't know how many folks actually watch that. Probably decent number.
Listen, here's the important thing. Okay, do you get paid by the hit? Because if so, then it was costly.
No, I do not. No.
All right, then it's fine.
Oh man, company man.
Then we're allowed to go to the bullpen once or twice a year. It's not that big.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what do we got here? All right, for our playoff rankings, let's pull these things up and assign some meaning.
Hops, if I had a camera, a portable camera, I would do that. But since I do this show off the little camera on the laptop, I can't take you on a tour of the MTV crib that I live in.
Welcome to my crib. That was a great show.
It was.
I mean,
they took lifestyles of the rich and famous and they made it their own.
I love it. They went to everybody's fridge too. They made everybody open the fridge, which was you knew it was coming. I'm with you, bud. It was a great show.
Oh man. All right, so I feel pretty good about this.
By the way, did you hear the story that the Rays were talking to DeGrom's folks yesterday?
No, but I'm down for that. That'd be cool.
Well, remember, they finished second for Freddie Freeman. That when they all broke down with the Braves, that the Rays put, I think, a short-term, like 3-year 80, 3 for 75 or 3 for 80 in front of him. And he obviously took the 5-6 year deal instead for similar money. But the Rays actually made him like a 3 for 75 offer.
I mean, look, it's just hard for these short-term deals to go bad. Because like you get at them soon enough. These teams all have enough money, whether they say they do or not. Like they definitely do.
Plus, you can trade the guy. You could get a year and a half into 3-year deal and trade him.
Because then it's a really tradable contract.
Right.
I kind of think there's a lesson in college football too, by the way, for that.
Contracts?
Well, that, but also for these players, right? Like what number would you not pay, to keep like a Drake May if he wanted to come back for his 4th year? I mean, like that, or for instance, better examples like, let's say you have a really good college quarterback who we all love, who's not like necessarily a great NFL prospect.
You mean like Hartman, the Wake Forest quarterback?
Sure, but I think they may be ready to move on.
He's definitely ready to move on.
Yeah. Take I don't know, just like Tim Tebow is a great example, right? Was probably not going to be a super high draft pick. He ended up getting picked high, which was crazy because, I mean, the throwing motion was awful.
Yes.
I get it if you don't want to spend the money on these high schoolers, but that's part of the talent acquisition process. It's part of the opportunity cost. But at the same time, the guys who are already really, really proven in college, I mean, they're easily worth a couple million to your program if you're a top program.
10 seconds.
The word is Bryce Young's making $3 million this year. He's got $3 million NIL deals.
Totally worth it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us this final day of November. Getting over the hump together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Joe Zagacki, voice of the Canes, looking back at a very disappointing year one under Mario Cristobal and looking forward with the longtime voice of the Canes at the top of the hour. Bud Elliott, kind enough to join us once again on a Wednesday at this hour. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. You were losing your voice when you were with us a week ago, and my understanding is it disappeared on you.
You guys got one of the last good Bud Elliott appearances of last week. I got that. I knocked out a couple VOD, video on demand hits, and then we did our live show 11 a.m. on the YouTube channel for Cover 3, and then that was it. I was like, I'm done. I can't talk. So that was it was a good Thanksgiving. Made a nice prime rib and enjoyed it, but didn't really talk to anybody because couldn't.
I love the number of people that just have boycotted turkey. I did the turkey. I love turkey. I love all the sides, but I was at my daughter's soccer practice last night. One of the guys I always talk to, he goes, "How was your Thanksgiving?" "Good." "How was yours?" "Great. Had a tenderloin." Good for you. If you don't like it, don't stick to what you don't like. There's no reason in this world to do something that you don't like when you have to do it in so many other areas because jobs or whatever require you to.
Also, you guys are busy. I'm busy. We have limited free time. I'm a grown man. What do you? How often do you guys go? I'm going to go eat a turkey. I eat what I want to eat.
You were
what you want to eat.
You were a half a second away from going Mike Gundy on us there, weren't you? You were about to say I'm a grown ass man, weren't you? You were about to go down that road.
I'll let you guys be the ones to say it.
Bud Elliott, CBS Sports HQ, 24/7 Sports, Cover 3 Podcast, Nolecast. Follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott, the number 3, Elliott with 2 L's and 2 T's, Bud Elliott 3.
Bud, want to go back before we go forward. I don't even want to talk about the playoff committee. We'll get into all that in a moment. I want to talk about Friday night in Tallahassee and just how big that was for the Noles, getting that 9th win, beating their rival. I don't know if they're going to continue this on Friday night, but man, oh man, I haven't seen an atmosphere like that in Tallahassee in a long, long time.
By the way, just want to add, because we've been talking about it, apparently 6.7 million. Don't know what that rating is, and it's not out publicly, but apparently 6.7 million viewers for the game.
That's pretty good.
Right? It is.
I mean, it felt like all of sports Twitter was watching the game Friday night. It was a really good game. Probably a little closer than some Noles fans wanted it to be. The atmosphere in Doak really was great. I think it was great because it was kind of a celebration and a culmination of a season that a lot of people have been waiting to have. I mean, Mike Norvell won 9 games combined in his first 2 years, right? And this year he's won 9 and gone 9-3, and things seem to be turning around in Tallahassee pretty well. Jordan Travis just played his butt off, right? That guy just dominated. And really, I don't think if you're in that building, you ever thought, okay, they're not going to go down and score again, right? As long as they had time on the clock, you thought Jordan was going to lead them down and score once again. I mean, they put up 45 and had, I think, 4 or 5 recorded drops on the stat sheet, which generally, those are pretty strict definitions. Defensively, though, I still have some questions about this team, right? I think they need to make some upgrades on that defensive coaching staff. We knew going into the game that Florida was going to be down 2 or 3 of their top receivers and both top backups. FSU did not force a single target to those backup receivers. The top guy that played for Florida got 9 targets and 148 yards. To me, you got to make Florida prove that they're going to use those other guys. They didn't do it.
And Florida nearly won the game passing despite completing 9 passes.
Yeah.
All right. On the night. It was 2 years ago that they damn near ran Harbaugh out of town. He had to take a pay cut. He had to reduce his buyout down. I don't want to say it was humiliating, but it wasn't a good look for Jim. And they were big and they were slow. And now 2 years later, apparently now they're big and fast. And Jim Harbaugh's the guy, and we're hiring all his assistants if we can also. What happened?
I think Feldman had a pretty good piece in The Athletic on this about some of the cultural changes they made there within the program. Michigan's got a lot of money. I happen to think their player player development is probably really good internally. I mean, it feels like everybody they put in the lineup is at least decent. There's not a lot of guys who are terrible. He took some risks and brought in some new coaches, especially on the defensive side, to change up what they were doing. And I mean, they just look really, really good. I do think within that game, though, two things. Michigan's defense played pretty damn good. Okay. And they frustrated that Ohio State offense. Michigan's offense, though, they were explosive in a way that they had not been this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that I would question if they can be going forward. Right. So I've been looking for this. I can't find another game this year where a team had more yards on five plays. Right. So Michigan's 5 plays went for 360 yards. Okay. That's a pretty good average. Right. Their other 54 plays went for 3.0. So on a down-to-down basis, their offense did not do much, and then they would pop a huge one, which is to their credit. They schemed them up, or they won a one-on-one matchup individually. We said on Cover 3, like, if they play again, I don't know if that's the result again, though, because it felt in some ways like Michigan deserves a ton of credit, and they do, and Ohio State deserves some blame. But it also felt a little bit last year, or like last year's Georgia-Bama game, round 1, right? And we know that Georgia won in the rematch. I don't think it feels exactly like that to me, but I also don't think that Michigan is 3 touchdowns better than Ohio State if they played a lot of times. But they don't play a lot of times. They play one time, and Michigan beat them by margin and deserves to go to college football playoff now.
Would you have schemed it differently defensively for the Buckeyes?
So I think it kind of depends. Clearly Ohio State was worried about stopping the run, but J.J. McCarthy, even throughout the first half, is doing the same thing he's done all year, which was firing high and incomplete, missing guys, being late on throws. Maybe he didn't need to be quite as aggressive. That's easy to say in hindsight, but Illinois didn't play him all that differently, right? And they just didn't hit the explosives on him. They had some guys opening against Illinois, and they couldn't make it work. So maybe a little bit less aggressive. I do think you could have won up front slightly better, especially after Corum wasn't in there. But I think Edwards is probably more explosive than Corum is as a runner. So I don't know. It's a really good question, Mark.
Is the most significant thing that's going to happen in your world of college football this week today, and whether or not the Rose Bowl finally blinks? The ultimatum that's been given to the Rose Bowl, which apparently will determine A, whether or not they're still the granddaddy of them all, and B, whether or not we have a new playoff beginning in 2024 or 2026.
Yeah, for sure. So the Rose Bowl is going to want certain demands met, and I think the playoff committee, the guys who actually run the playoff, are finally a little bit tired of some of these demands, and they want to be able to run their own thing. So I would rather the expanded playoff get here sooner rather than later, because I don't like what we have this weekend. Okay, the result of the Big Ten title game does not matter. The result of the SEC championship game does not matter. I strongly suspect that the result of the TCU, the Big 12 title game, unless TCU gets its doors blown off, does not matter.
Oh,
As
wait,
a college football fan.
Hold on. So you think Kansas State 31-24, TCU still in?
Yeah. I think so. And I think there's some politics involved in that and some history, because they punished the Big 12 for not having a title game prior. And now
it would be rich for those that don't remember. 2014, the Big 12 doesn't have a championship game. TCU gets dropped out of the top 4. Ohio State, by winning the same weekend, but winning a championship game, gets moved ahead of them. They go on to win the national title. It would be rich if 8 years later TCU loses the championship game, gets dropped in favor of Ohio State.
100%. Now, the other thing I think you got to watch this is, I think we need to have playoff games at home. I'm fine playing the national championship at a neutral site. That makes sense to me. But I would love to see first round, second round at home. We're not going to get there right now. Eventually, I think once these athletic directors get a taste of how nice it is to have a home playoff game, how much money you're making off a home playoff game, how much the boosters who have local businesses who support you realize they make on a home playoff game, and how much they love it, and what their feedback to these ADs is going to be. Eventually, we're going to get there. But if we're going to get there, we're going to have the playoff to tell these bowls, hey, you can't do this. Sorry. And if they're willing to push back on the Rose Bowl, finally, to me, that's a good sign for the long term that we're going to get more home playoff games. Like these atmospheres at home for home playoff games would be insane.
Absolutely insane.
It's better for the fans too, right? Like how many Michigan fans are going to go to the Big Ten title game this year? They already went last year. Michigan fans think that they're going to be favored in round one. They almost certainly will. Are they going to like, if I'm a Michigan fan and I'm not a millionaire, I'm thinking, okay, am I going to take my family to Indianapolis to watch them beat Purdue as a 17-point favorite and then go to the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe to watch them play USC or TCU, whoever they send, probably TCU if TCU wins. And then I have to go to the national championship game as well. Like, guys, that's a lot of funds in a 3-week span or, 3-game span.
And I think you picked the wrong team in Michigan. Is that because they've got the most alumni and
Sure.
they're all over?
They'll travel.
That they have people everywhere. But if you take an SEC team and try to make them go to the Fiesta Bowl and an SEC championship, and then I definitely think you're onto something with that. But the other thing we've been talking about a lot on the show today is that, in theory, when we're at a playoff where the 6 conference champions go, this weekend's a big deal because Kansas State wins, they're in. Purdue wins, they're in. The problem, Utah wins, they're in. The problem, Bud, is that we're going to do away with divisions. These games will be more irrelevant down the road if they eliminate divisions. So I think they're in for a problem with these conference title games, even more so down the road because they'll be perhaps more meaningless.
Yeah. So conference title, you're exactly right. Like you have to do away with divisions if you're going to have these super leagues, which just because of math, you can't have 2, 8-team divisions, right? It just doesn't really make sense. It's not really a league. It's just 2 kind of scheduling convenience setups, if you will. But these conference title games have always been money grabs, and they've been genius money grabs for a long time. But I agree. I think you have a problem if you have conference title games with the divisionless format. It will set up a lot of rematches, but I don't think the conferences are going to let go of them. So making them worth something, making them say, hey, like you win and like you have to be a conference champion to get that home playoff game, or you have to be a conference champion to get the home bye, right? Like that puts some more meaning for it. Georgia, and look, my network broadcasts this game, so they probably don't want me to say this. Georgia could sit its starters this weekend. Okay, lose, it wouldn't matter because they're still not going to send, like they're not going to send Georgia out west to face USC in the Fiesta Bowl, I don't think, right? And that's closer for USC. They could just sit everybody this weekend. It really wouldn't matter. They're not playing for anything in terms of playoff seeding.
But we think TCU and USC could come down with an imaginary outbreak of COVID, not show up and even play the games and make the playoff. Okay, but that they run the risk of being eliminated from the playoff if they show up and play. You said you think TCU's in unless they get goat rodeoed. What about USC?
So I don't think USC is in with a loss. And I'm not sure that they should be. Okay. They have a lot of really, really close wins. They also have a close loss, obviously, to Utah. If they lose again to Utah, a Utah team that has 4 losses now or 3. They lost to a 6-6 Florida team as well. So they have the common opponent, Notre Dame, who Ohio State beat by similar or more, I believe, than USC did, and that was with Notre Dame starting quarterback, not the backup, by the way. If the committee wants to consider that, every other Ohio State win is by double digits in what I think we would all agree is a tougher league. Their win over Penn State, I think, is better than any win that USC has. So from that perspective, I definitely don't think 2-loss USC is going to go over Ohio State. But I also like USC this weekend. I don't think Utah is very good, guys.
I will throw this out there. Pac-12's got 6 teams ranked. Big Ten's only got 3. So I think that USC would argue, at least based on the committee's rankings, the whole conference strength deal.
That's fair. By the way, this year for the Pac-12 is great because the bottom of the Pac-12 is so bad and nobody slipped up, right?
Right.
Basically, nobody lost to Arizona. Almost nobody lost to Arizona State. Nobody lost to Cal. Nobody lost to Colorado of consequence. So nobody lost to Stanford. So everybody was able to pad their record with those bottom 6 teams, and it really helped the ratings.
He's Bud Elliott, CBS Sports HQ, 24/7 Sports. That cover 3 podcasts and no cast. Follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott, the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud, great that you got your voice back. Thanks for joining us once again. Enjoy Conference Championship weekend.
All right, guys, be well.
Miller and Moulton. We will switch gears and talk with Joe Zagacki, voice of the Canes. He's coming up in the 8 o'clock hour right here on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, sandboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Soul of Tiny, I don't disagree with you, but he agrees to do one, and we are very thankful for it.
Huh?
I was just talking to the room. Yucky Goop. Now there's a name.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like what David's eating right now. Yucky Goop.
Except
It's not yucky.
mine is good goop.
It does look like goop, though.
It's the
It would qualify as, what's that goop in the cup?
It's the buffalo chicken dip from Publix.
Ooh.
Yeah, RCB. We got lucky with Bud. Bud was based in Southwest Florida for a long time. And we brought Bud on before Bud.
He was doing the Nolecast. He wasn't doing he was doing some recruiting stuff in the Nolecast.
And then, Bud became an empire. And he took a liking to us.
Guarantee it's cold, Mello. I guarantee it's cold.
What do you mean double violation was cold? And of course it's cold.
So this was my little poll question in my head today. What of the Pro 4 Sports regular season overtime do you like best? Because I was watching hockey and I hate 3-on-3 overtime.
Oh,
The NBA is the only league that has the same basically rules in their overtime as the game.
It's pretty true, actually.
Well, it's not pretty true. It's 100% true.
I mean, I guess extra innings.
Hockey goes 3. No, in regular season, they put a runner on second.
I thought they stopped doing that.
No.
Oh. They stopped for the postseason.
Right.
Football, the whole touchdown. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. Because it's not just shortening the time, because you could argue 10 minutes as opposed to 15 is kind of like the NBA doing 5 instead of 12.
Right, but not when you do the whole scoring thing.
By the way, the top play, I love how he shoots it.
Scoop shoots it.
But then he flicks the wrist. So he scoop shoots it and then goes like this. That's amazing.
The number one play is this high school basketball game. And I don't even
Not
know
even
if
high
it's-
school.
I don't even know if it's varsity. It might be JV. It might be one score game, because I looked at the clock when I saw it the second time. Kid gets a rebound, dribbles it towards the end line, if you will, along the end line, and from the deep corner, throws it left-handed, underhanded, 80% length of the court, and makes it. Oh, it's the top play. I've seen it twice. It's amazing.
One-handed scoop. Scoop layup from...
Now, I'm guessing he's left-handed because he came out of the thing and broke and dribbled left and shot left. I mean,
Here we go.
Looked like a strong hand, but wow.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day, final day of November. Thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show, you can always download it. We just had 15 minutes with Bud Elliott. You go to floridasportsnetwork.com and catch that interview if you missed it. Seth Everett coming up in about 35 minutes time for his regular weekly appearance. Hoping to catch up with Joe Zagacki, voice of the Canes, here momentarily. What a disappointing first year that was under Mario Cristobal. Man, oh man. But, it's just 1 year. And besides, as we've seen in college football nowadays, how quickly things can change in a year. Speaking of Joe Zagacki, longtime voice of the Canes, he's with us now. You can follow him on Twitter at Canes Voice. Joe, hope you and yours had a good Thanksgiving. How are you?
Thanksgiving was good. All was well. Hopefully you guys had a happy Thanksgiving.
We did. Thank you.
Well, Joe, obviously this was not the year any of us expected. We had you on before the season. Expectations were a conference championship, certainly a bowl game, and it didn't go well. What positives, if any, do you draw on from this season?
Let me think about that for a moment. Well, let's see.
Did they improve the press box food at all? I mean, we can start. Did your parking spot get better? I mean, we can go as small as you want here, Joe.
My parking spot got worse. Our broadcast location got worse. There was no water or coffee in our broadcast location, so that wasn't a positive.
Wow.
They went 5-7, didn't go to a bowl game. Quarterback nearly got killed 3 times. We played 3 quarterbacks, so that wasn't a real positive. The defense allowed 200 yards or much rushing in a game, I think 5 times. So that wasn't a real positive. Season ended. That was good. And now they're recruiting.
Man,
It's not a good season. I don't know what else, all I can say is this. I don't know why I woke up thinking this. I must be obsessed, but the University of Miami has taken them. They've almost had to pay. Well, they've paid so much money, and they paid Mario Cristobal a contract that was long enough and worth enough that they are forced not to listen to anybody now, and they are forced to let him do his job, which the positive would probably be, in all seriousness, positive would be Mario is a tough son of a gun. And it takes, I've said this for a long time, Miami's been pushed around. They've been bullied and pushed around into positions maybe that they didn't need to take. And now they got a guy that's standing up and saying, hey, what you've been doing here hasn't been any good. Really, this is the result of it. Could we have won more games if they had invested more in the talent that they have? Could they coach that talent up a little bit better? Maybe injuries sidetracked a lot of that. But the bottom line, and I've been saying this for a long time, they don't have a roster to compete at a championship level. Should they beat Middle Tennessee? Yeah. Should they beat Duke? 9 times out of 10. But I got to be honest with you, I didn't see a big difference between Miami and Duke. I was talking to somebody the other day from Duke, and I said, well, I'd probably take your wide receivers, your offensive line, and your running backs. And at that point, their quarterback, Riley Leonard, had a hell of a season. So the positive would be this. Mario Cristobal has been afforded the luxury to finally say one thing. We are rebuilding. They've been afraid to use that word, rebuild, because I suppose it would affect ticket sales. But they're in the rebuild mode. That's simple as that.
He's Joe Zagacki, voice of the Miami Hurricanes. You can follow him on Twitter at Canes Voice. And Joe, the other thing is, let's be honest. If this were 2012 and a season like this happens, you're thinking, oh man, this is going to take years to dig ourselves out of this. We're seeing now in the new college sports world, I mean, you can turn over a roster, good or bad, damn near in 12 months.
Yeah, well, USC had 51 new players. So if you're a first-year coach, you have 18 months where you can roll your roster over no matter what. There's been a lot of discussion in college athletics through the years. If you bring a guy in, on scholarship, is he there for 4 years? And often that has been, well, yes and no. You probably go to a player, put your arm around him and say, Charlie, you might not play here. We'd love having you, but you're probably not going to see the field. If you'd like, we can help you out and find you another school. Charlie was always able to say back, I really like it here. I like being on scholarship. I think I'll just gut it out. But now you can pretty much tell them, see you later. We're going to move on. And I suspect the Miami roster is going to change over quite a bit. Both, with the transfer portal, and they'll have more spots to recruit and all that stuff. And he's doing a great job recruiting right now. The class is holding up. He's a relentless recruiter. And I think he understands what has happened at the University of Miami through the years. They've been teased by players, right up until signing day. And then all of a sudden it had the carpet pulled out from underneath them. And he's prepared for those assaults this year. He's got a good class put together, and he is prepared to protect those guys from the outside attacks right down the stretch, the last recruiting weekend and all that stuff. He understands what the tactics are, and I'm pretty sure he's going to make sure that he insulates his recruits from those outside attacks. So that he doesn't lose a lot of guys on the last weekend of recruiting.
You know, Joe, listening to your first answer, and I started thinking about what Florida State was like 3 years ago when they lost to Jacksonville State or whatever the hell it was. And every time that they started getting any momentum, they got banged up. And you look at this Miami team this year, well, they lost some games, as you said, they should have never lost. But they also had injuries throughout the whole season. We know this roster is going to turn over. You know, you don't want to start comparing yourself to anybody, but you saw Florida State turning around in 3 years. I could look at that same blueprint and think Miami can do the same thing.
Well, look what Florida State did. The quarterback, I think, was the most improved player in the ACC, Jordan Travis. Now, I always felt that he was the fastest guy on the field. I also felt that he could not play a perfect game, that he would get himself into trouble. He kind of spins away from the rush and all that stuff, but he's a dynamic player. You saw that the other night. However, through the portal, they helped him with the offensive line. They helped him in the backfield with Benson, the running back. They helped him at wide receiver with Wilson, and I guess two or three other wide receivers came in, including Wilson, Johnny Wilson. So their offense went from, I think, 100s to top 20 in the country. They made a dramatic change, but a lot of credit goes to Norvell and his staff because they did. I think part of coaching is willing your players to your side. This is how we're going to play, and this is why we're playing this way. And they were very good with their running game. They committed to their running game. Last year, they were really good inside the red zone, not quite as good this year, but they found that identity, run the football, minimize penalties. They were a little higher this year than a year ago, and be good in the red zone again. Not quite as efficient in the red zone this year, but probably had more big plays. So they found an identity, and some of that was really good coaching, and some of that was because they changed their players to the portal.
Well, and Miami's certainly going to have a lot of that as well. If there are 8 position groups, give me the top 3 that you think. We know we're going to have a lot of turnover, but if you're Miami, listen, I don't know if we could do all 8 in one off season, but give me the top 3 that you're thinking, man, they got to address these 3 position groups.
Yeah, well, they need better play at linebacker. Their linebackers are willing and want to. They just don't have the size. Keontre Smith was a safety in high school that they've tried to turn into a linebacker, and Corey Flagg, if he was 6'2", he'd be an All-American, but he's 5'11", and so he can get easily isolated. And after that, Caleb Johnson was a transfer whose his eligibility is up. Now Wesley DeSaint is a freshman that had ended up with 30-some tackles. Well, hell, the leading tackler a year ago had 60, and Wesley was a freshman who played half the season. And when he hit you, you hear the term "loud out" in baseball. He's a loud hit in football. He's going to be really, really good, but they need to pair him with someone that looks like him or looks like one of the Clemson linebackers. 6'2", 240 pounds, somebody that can stop the run and is a real physical presence. They didn't have that at linebacker. Wide receiver, they need somebody that on first down can catch it and take it 60 yards. That way you don't have second down and 9. You have a touchdown, and they don't have that. They don't have that speed element. So linebacker and wide receiver, and then after that, you could make a debate. I mean, their offensive line got shredded this year with injuries, so I don't know what that's going to look like, but there was nothing left at the end of the season. Zion Nelson was injured all year. I put it to you this way. DJ Scape is their right tackle. And I kind of just, DJ has been at the University of Miami for 5 years. He's played 58 games, and I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. I think he's okay. He lines up all the time. He's there. He played for 5 years. He was loyal. He was dedicated. My old broadcast partner, Jim Manzi, would say, he's the kind of guy you're always looking to replace. And they never did. They couldn't. That's kind of where their level of roster is. And that would be my next position group, probably offensive line. You got to do better than what's there right now.
He's Joe Zagacki, He is the voice of the Miami Hurricanes, and it is basketball season. You can follow him on Twitter at Canes Voice. Joe, thanks for waking up for us. We appreciate it. All the best. Hopefully we can talk again soon.
All right, guys. Have a happy holiday season. Hope all goes well for you.
And to you as well, Joe. Joe Zagacki, Canes Voice on Twitter. So to review, the parking spot got worse. No water or coffee in the booth. Their broadcast position got worse, but the season ended. So I guess that was pretty good. Miller and Moulton.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun, smooth, like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Geno Smith could throw his next 150 balls in the stands and have a higher QBR than Zach Wilson.
No, Adam, they're all in. Once they let Ruiz start writing checks, they are all in there for the first time, really for the first time in this new world of college football.
Adam, I think the hiring of not just Cristobal, but Radakovich as AD was the university finally getting behind a program the way you have to. No, but they're getting their shit together, pardon the pun. Pod, this segment?
Oh, yeah. You got your play?
Yep.
What is it?
OV.
Oh, and they will, Dad. They will. No, you couldn't. Not USF. USF has no thunder, no lightning. They don't even have any fog.
It's not even raining.
And it's certainly not sunny.
And you know, thunder always happens when it's raining.
Thank you, Lindsey Buckingham.
Thank goodness he wasn't the one singing it.
It's just the first Fleetwood Mac name I could come up with there. I didn't want to call you Chrissy McVie or Stevie Nicks. Although the Stevie Nicks Billy Joel tour would be a fun show.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
And they've only got like 5 stops right now. You'll end up seeing this getting blown out at some point because they're hardly playing any shows, but they just added another one.
Well, he plays the Garden every month. No performer has played at the Garden more than Billy Joel, and it's not close. He has a standing show at Madison Square Garden every month.
Great performer in concert. Seen him twice.
And I'm glad you said it that way too, because he is a performer.
And I don't know if he is anymore because he's older, but when he was younger, man, climbing the light things, and I mean, he was nuts. It was actually it was a really entertaining show. I wish he would play Allentown in concert because I hate that song.
I think he was on supplements during those years.
30 seconds.
And by supplements, I mean cocaine.
That goal was sweet.
It was.
Yeah. One player has recorded a 40-point triple-double this season, and it's been Luka Doncic. He's done it 5 times.
Yeah, they're 500.
I was going to say, what's their record?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's
why Tatum's up on the MVP ladder.
There's no ladder in November.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett's weekly appearance is a little more than 15 minutes away. Thanks so much for being with us. So, Team USA, did they meet the threshold? Are you okay? Is your angst from the Wales draw, is it over, or do they have to do more for you?
I would love them to do more. I don't know if they can. I getting out of group was what had to happen. And
so they've met the threshold then. Everything from here is gravy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So a lot of pressure yesterday. They answered the call. They got through.
Yeah, they answered the call. They did. They played well. All they had to do was get a win. I don't care how they got the win.
Right. I have to admit, I got nervous late. I did a couple of, the set piece in the final moments. And, I thought they were just going to keep doing stoppage time until Iran scored. I mean, I have to admit, how do you have 10 minutes of stoppage time when nothing happened? There's no goals. 10 minutes?
Yeah, and there wasn't the flopping. There wasn't.
No.
It was very arbitrary to me.
I thought it was the 72, men's basketball game in which it was the U.S. and the Soviet Union. We're just going to keep running the final play till the Soviets score. I swear. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, are they just going to keep doing stoppage time till Iran scores?
It was weird to watch a game with the USA playing and them not being, clearly being the team not being rooted for. The crowd was very much pro Iran. That was just bizarre in and of itself.
I have to admit, I mean, obviously I'm rooting for the U.S., but there was a part of me throughout the whole thing. I'm thinking, what's going to happen to these guys in Iran when they get back if they lose? They're now talking about they may be fined. That's the latest. They're going to be fined.
What are they going to be fined? A foot?
Right. I just don't know how far we want to take this because, unfortunately, they might do those things over there. So, yes I'm glad we won. My hope is that, I don't know, the soccer players will be okay, and then their families. Can't believe I have to say that out loud, but I think we're all hoping that the Iranian soccer players and their families are okay. Wow, what a world we live in these days.
And because now everything's gravy. You beat the Netherlands. That's a huge upset.
Still can't get the right guys on the pitch, though. All right. All the former U.S. soccer players who are analysts are all complaining about his substitutions and who's in.
Well, they might get it because Sargent got hurt yesterday as well. Pulisic says he'll play, but Sargent was hurt, and that's, I think, the spot where they would put
Reyna.
Yeah.
Gio Reyna. Yeah. But also, apparently, two of the 5 substitutes yesterday were terrible. And so you had Clint Dempsey railing on the substitutes. You got Lawless railing on the substitutes. Of course, I mean, the manager's over in Qatar. It's not like he's, getting a whole lot of this. But anyway, the former U.S. players are not exactly crazy with the head coach right now.
I think the head coach would be excited about a question about the lineup as opposed to his question about politics and foreign diplomacy that he got before the last game. So I think he'd welcome any of those questions right now, David. That's just me.
Make a dadgum good point, Mark. But Team USA was clutch yesterday. We can say that, right?
Oh, they definitely were clutch yesterday.
Yeah.
Will they be clutch in the game against the Netherlands?
Saturday, 10 a.m. I'm glad, by the way, it's Saturday, 10 a.m. It's appreciate the World Cup for recognizing that this is the one week we really don't need the college football pregame shows. There's really nothing to tell us. So good. Now we don't have to watch them at all. Not 1 second. Doesn't matter where they're doing it from and the theme song and the whole deal. Good. Just end it. Give me soccer. 10 to noon.
All right, Felipe, we've blown this. I'm telling you right now, because Felipe thought he had a play, and we completely blew this from 5:30 on. He is trying very hard to rectify it with a computer that's running by 2 squirrels and 1 hamster that's trying to get this thing going. So, Felipe, are you at all ready for the clutch play of the day since we've tried to edit this in the middle of the segment?
So, yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that we are ready. And NHL history was made last night by one Alex Ovechkin. And I know.
So USA 1, Iran 0.
Yes, that did happen.
That's not the pod.
That's not the pod?
No.
Do you know what Felipe's not today?
Clutch.
With
a K.
But we do like good radio calls, and this was a good call.
Washington winless in its last 6 on the road, has the 1-0 lead. Strome has the puck along with Anthony Mantha. Curling back through center. Strome feeds. Ovechkin fires. Score! Ovechkin 2 for 2. And he has the most goals ever on the road in NHL history.
That's number 403 for the grade 8. He jumps over Wayne Gretzky here in the first period. Amazing.
Goal number 793, by the way. Just to give you an idea for those of you that never saw Wayne Gretzky, Alex Ovechkin has 793 goals, and he's still over 100 behind Gretzky. Congratulations, Ovi. Now let's see your next 100, which he's going to get. That franchise will employ him. Okay, this is the old, fat, designated hitter who needs to get to 500 home runs to go to the Hall of Fame, and his longtime beloved franchise is like, we'll keep giving him a contract till he gets it.
Health, which he's been very healthy. He's not really had any issues. The lockout and COVID. By itself, he might be there already. He'd be really close.
He would be. He really would be. But as it is, he's at 793. 2 more goals last night. He's 101 behind the great one.
God, I'd love to run into Ovi with a bottle of Clutch vodka.
Oh, he'd love it.
You're damn right he would. He'd drink me under the table.
He'd be about halfway through it. He'd be, this is pretty good, but you should drink the stuff we get in Stalingrad.
I don't know. He might switch over. He's been here long enough that he may become a Clutch vodka guy. Go to clutchspirits.com and hashtag all your Clutch vodka drinks with hashtag Clutch Spirits.
Well, he'd be talking about the stuff that you get, it's not available for sale. He'd start telling the stories about him and Putin and what they drink. We'd have to laugh and go along with it like he's a great guy.
So one of the girls my daughter plays soccer with, her dad played in the NHL, played in Russia as well. Talked about in men's league. He had guys on his team that played like men's league in the summer with Putin and the rules of you couldn't touch him. He'd get 5-6 goals a game. And these guys are all pro hockey players. You can't take the puck off a stick. Just pass it to Putin. Just feed the big man.
Here's my question. Is the goalie allowed to stop the shots? I mean, does
no.
Oh my goodness. That's terrible.
If he goes low glove, that glove better go up early, if you know what I mean.
I get that, you can't check him and you're basically just skating alongside him. And I get all that. But really, the goalie can't make a save too? I mean, come on. He might as well be out there by himself.
Exactly.
Man.
Nothing clutch about that.
No. It's embarrassing.
Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett next on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycle, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Life is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
There he is in all his glory today. That's right. We're going big, bold, red.
You know it, baby. How are you guys?
I'm good, Seth. How are you?
Good. It's much more HD of a webcam, so you can see a little bit more. I had to spruce up the back there.
It is. That is a lot better camera. When'd you get that?
Saturday was the Black Friday Amazon deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The other camera is in a recycling bin.
Is it the same type of camera, just a USB plug-in, or is it?
Yeah, just USB plug-in. But the other one I got from when I did a gig for Syracuse, and I didn't know what the caliber of it is. You know, it was just a camera, and
Right,
you know,
because
and
mine
so
sucks.
I didn't buy the other one, and it turns out the other one is like half the power of this one. So
What did you buy, Seth?
Logitech.
What
I can send you the link.
Send me the link, would you?
Yeah,
Because I have Logitech too, but I've noticed like these cameras, I don't know if it's settings. Literally, when David and I were in here, the shirt looks one color on camera and it's not that color.
Yep. I had to clean up the room, so I brought this out for a design. That is an Alain Chevrier signed puck from 1985. You guys remember Alain Chevrier?
I do.
The goalie?
And one of the first Devils teams. You know, when they were a Mickey Mouse organization.
Mickey Mouse organization. By the way, no way Ovechkin gets 100 goals. Do you see how slow he looks?
They're never going to kick him off the roster.
He can get 30 on the he can get 20 on the power play.
Yes.
You're just standing on the half wall, Seth. I mean, he can with that shot.
I think he retires. I think he's going to say eventually this is too much.
No way. He'll retire once he gets to 900.
I don't know.
Mark's right. He'll get 20 plus power play goals a year. Oh, okay. Also, he puts butts in the seats.
Yeah, he does.
And they're not going to be good. They're old.
No, they're
now.
bad. They're bad. They're old.
Right.
Yeah. We tossed him around on Saturday.
Well, right now you're tossing everybody around.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
In fact,
yeah.
someone asked in the Twitch chat room, you could only have one. U.S. wins the World Cup this year, or the Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Devil, it's not even close. He doesn't even care about the
kidding?
US. Might as well be an Englishman.
Are you kidding? That's a joke, right?
That was the question. Just relaying the question.
He's not even an American anymore. He's a damn Englishman.
Right. Just who is it again? Arsenal, Chelsea, Leeds.
Well, Christian Pulisic, by the way, the American hero, is Aston Villa. That's like playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Who's your team again?
Arsenal. Arsenal has 9 guys in the World Cup, and the U.S. goalie is our backup goalie, Matt Turner.
Well,
I mean, after they won yesterday, so it's back to being our.
No, I meant the Arsenal.
He meant Arsenal. That's he meant Arsenal. Okay. He said our, meaning Arsenal, did not mean
And
U.S.
that's what I meant. Okay, he wasn't claiming the backup goalie till they won either.
No, I did. I like Matt Turner. I'm trying to get him on Sports with Friends.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, quick little, and that's how we judge people in this business.
If I can
Okay,
try to
will
get him on
will
Sports
they
with Friends,
come on
we
your
love 'em.
show. They come on your show. They're a great guy.
I'll do a podcast with Ovechkin anytime.
And you won't ask him about Putin?
Yeah, right. There's no chance.
Try not to make it your first question, okay?
Oh, it was Dan Patrick had Trevor Lawrence on and waited like 4 questions to go Urban Meyer on him and even said, it was pretty good. I didn't lead with it, right? And I had to laugh. It's Dan Patrick, pretty much the number 1 guy in the business going, see, at least I didn't lead with it, Trevor.
That's funny. That's funny.
Right. I was hanging Christmas lights. I had the earbuds in, listening to the show. I almost fell off the damn ladder.
That's funny. That makes me laugh. By the way, Auburn, Hugh Freeze, it's a great hire.
Yes, it is. It's perfect. Admit who you are.
Okay, that's fine.
Admit who you
It is
are.
perfect for their fan base. It is perfect for him. Everything about it is delicious.
10 seconds.
And Seth, it's going to end really badly.
And they saved $3 million a year because Lane would have cost them $9.5.
That's
There we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, our final segment of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. And on these days, Wednesday, our final segment is our friend Seth Everett. Speaking of friends, it's included in one of his great podcasts, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, Text Stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. And Seth, I will say, thank goodness that your hockey team is winning all these games, because we know how miserable you are that the World Cup is interrupted.
Yeah.
All right. Your European soccer season. So at least your hockey team, even if they fall off the face of the earth after January 1st, they are at least filling a huge hole in your life right now. And, Seth, some of our favorite teams as we grow up are teams that, when we're having a rough time,
sure,
they kind of gave us joy. And the Devils are doing that for you right now.
Oh,
then
they
you
are.
can go back to Arsenal or whoever the hell it is.
Yeah, the Devils are off to a fantastic start. A quarter of the way through the season, and we're tied for the best record in the league. That's fantastic. I was doing my iHeart reports, and I don't write them, so I get these scripts, and I have to read these scripts.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, no.
How do I get that? Can I fill in when you're not doing that?
This project,
How do
they
I
have to be? You have to do
that?
17 an hour, but you get the scripts, and you have to write them, and you have to hit exactly 25 seconds. It's not rocket science, but it's not hard. It's not easy. So I get the scripts. I don't pre-read them. I just bang them out. Like I go fast. And this guy wrote yesterday, the hottest team in the NHL, the Seattle Kraken, won again last night. And I'm reading it, and my wife is in the hallway, and she goes, "What the hell did you just say?"
Did you change it?
Of course I did.
Thank you.
Of course I did. 6 in a row. That's nothing. We've won 16 out of 17.
I thought you meant you changed it to the Boston Bruins.
No.
Walked right into that one, Seth. You
No.
walked right into that one.
Oh, but winning is going to be so much fun just for things like that.
So you don't proof them at all? You're like, did you ever listen to Tony Kornheiser's show? Back in
when
the
he
day.
did radio, I used to years ago.
Yes, he did radio. He did local radio.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
turned into national radio. Tony once a week would pound out promos for his affiliates, only he would do them live on the air. And he also didn't proofread them.
Yeah.
And it led to, first off, like he might mispronounce my name. You see it cold for the first time.
Pronunciations are a big thing with me. I've told you guys my story about the Olympics. Like working the Olympics, even if the guy's name is Smith, you confirm. Like there's no mispronunciations. And for these, what I do is I just read them, and what I'll have to read them is twice. But they're not live. So it's faster for me to read them twice and just go, because I can always just pick up the sentence where it is or whatever it is. But when he wrote that, my blood started to boil. I was like offended. I was like, how do you do that to me? You know who I am. Like, what's the matter with you? And he was totally just doing it to get a rise out of me. It was funny.
And it worked.
It obviously worked. I'm guessing you watched the World Cup yesterday. You are now a soccer fan. How fascinated are you with, to me, going into that game, the press conferences going in? I mean, don't you think it's time that these guys would love to answer a soccer question after having to answer the political questions going into that game?
But none of this has been about soccer. I mean, it hasn't been about soccer since the beginning. And, unlike the Olympics, because the three of us have had a conversation about the Olympics, about how going into any Olympics, I remember Sochi, and I remember the China one, the last one. Usually once the events start, everything kind of goes away, and we just focus on the events. And that's what ice skating has done in the past. Gymnastics has done that in Olympic Games. And in this World Cup, it has not. The controversies are first and foremost, most of the media that I've seen that's outside of Fox. Fox made a choice. I mean, this is their choice to ignore all of it. And they're doing so. I think the pan-arounds of the stadiums are kind of nauseating, just to think about all the people that died building those stadiums. But look, they're making a conscious choice. For me, I have not listened to 1 ounce of pregame, halftime. I know your boy Tom Rinaldi's doing it. He's doing the best he can. They're eating chicken wings on the set. They're trying to be like inside the NBA. I find the whole thing to be, kind of amateur hour. But the reality of it is the games have been good. Brazil's game was great. I saw Argentina. I've watched a bunch of it, but it's not gripping me the way it would if it was in the summer. This is a summer event, and it should be.
And it will be. I mean, for the rest of time, this is a one-off, and FIFA is not going to say it. But they come on. There were bribes involved.
Yeah, there were 7 guys arrested. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we all know why it's here. And for the record, it's not just Fox. All right, NBC.
Yeah. Telemundo.
The 2 China Olympics, they haven't said a word either.
No. That's why I'm trying not to single them out. They're making a choice. They said we're not going to cover this because we can't do it justice. We're just going to ignore it, and they've ignored it, and that's fine. That's the way they have had it. And what I like is when they put the British play-by-play guy with the American analyst, and oh my God, that is just tremendous. When this one woman, I'm sorry I don't know her name, but she was just like, Japan is going to try to get the equalizer here because if they can come up with a tie and the other guy doesn't say a word and she goes, all right, I know it's a draw. And the banter was hysterical.
Well, this is where my bias comes in. I don't think anybody with a regular American accent should be calling soccer. They should.
I totally agree. It seems awkward. I feel like I'm watching like college. It's strange. I don't want to bash these guys because they're doing the best they can. I just the coverage has been so awkward and it's so weird. And what I was doing was flipping between the England-Wales game and the U.S.-Iran game, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then I don't know. I saw England's goals. They were good. I saw the U.S. goal. It was nice. Whatever.
What do you mean it was nice?
Nice, whatever?
It was nice. He's the Aston Villa guy.
Really good goal, Seth. I mean, come on.
It was great. Yeah, I hope he's okay. I hope he didn't get hurt. Too bad.
He's the Team USA guy.
Yeah, Team USA guy. Yeah. Go team. Oh, he's good. I like him.
How would you feel if all of a sudden he gets picked up by Arsenal?
Oh, I'd love him. Love him. Get him up. I'd get my Captain America stuff and don't think I don't have it.
When's the last time you've worn it, though? That's really the question.
After Steve Rogers died, it's been really hard. I don't know if I've worn it recently. I got really affected by Steve Rogers' passing. Technically, he didn't die. He just got old.
Seth Everett.
You watched Avengers Endgame.
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, Tech Stream. Those are the only podcasts of his we're willing to promote. The others didn't make the cut.
Yep.
Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. I find it interesting. And Mark, you agree with him. See, I actually want more English speaking commentators.
Yeah.
Instead of British.
Derek Ray, that's the guy. Derek Ray and Ian Dark, those are the 2 great announcers. But Derek Ray calls the FIFA video game. So when I'm watching him call a match, it feels like I'm playing a video game. I want to reach for a controller.
So you want less accents in the broadcast, David?
I do. I feel as if it's time for a generation of American soccer announcers.
Yeah, it's JP Delacameron. He's been doing it for ever. That's our guy.
Yep. Right. But I feel it's time for, come on now. If we're embracing the sport, we should then also provide announcers to it. Now, they have to be as good, though, and they're not right now. They're not.
Right. Well, the Apple hasn't announced who the MLS announcers are going to be. That's going to be a very interesting thing because supposedly they're not hiring all the local announcers that were doing their respective teams, and they're going to mix and match, kind of like college football does, or the NFL, where you don't know who's calling whose games. So it'll be interesting to see what Apple does with the MLS announcers.
It will be interesting if people will pay $15 a month.
It's crazy. That's a crazy price point.
Yes.
for
this to
a
me-
minor league sport. I mean, it's not. I'd pay $15 for the Premier League, but not for MLS.
Oh, there's no doubt. And as we've pointed out on this show, and minor leagues be nice to it. I mean, really and truly, it's just the 6th, 7th best league in the world.
Yep.
And that's
not to belittle it. Right. We're not trying to
that's just
belittle
where
it.
it is.
Right. I have no angst towards the MLS. They're good people. I know some people that work there. That the Sounders are good. The Red Bulls play like 10 minutes from my house. It's fine.
No, and I've been one on this show for years. If there was, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I said if I could buy one franchise right now, I'm into the MLS. I think the growth is going to be huge over the next generation.
Right.
I think this league is doing all of the right things, and I think eventually it'll end up being, I don't know, closer to the 4th best league in the world, if you know what I mean. I do think there'll be a point, if we're watching the Premier League the way we are, Seth, and we're watching the World Cup the way we are, at some point we'll spend the money to get the players. I don't think we'll ever be able to put a team in the Premier League, but I do think that the MLS will continue to get better and maybe one day be better than, I don't know, the Italian league.
But Christian Pulisic is a perfect example. Like the minute his career took off, he went to the Premier League, like instantly. I mean, the Brazil stars, they all play in the Premier League. The Argentina, the Premier League is not just a bunch of Brits.
Will be interesting though. Messi reportedly going to sign with Beckham's Miami club, a record deal. And I understand this happened. It happened 15 years ago with Beckham in Los Angeles. But I mean, people are interested in Messi, and we're talking about, will people spend $15 a month on Apple TV or $99 for a season? I am curious if Messi is worth $15 a month or $99 for the year alone.
Totally. I mean, I totally agree. Can I make David laugh in 10 seconds? NYCFC is building a stadium around those chop shops. They're taking those chop shops and they're going to put a soccer stadium there.
Yes.
What are those businesses, those thriving businesses, going to do?
Well, in theory, it's going to be, one of those complexes. And also we're going to have a casino, Seth. It's all about the damn casino.
Those chop shops, man, you go 2 blocks from Citi Field, you're in the middle of another country.
Yes, you are. You need to make a right and go up the subway steps. You make a
This
left.
This is not Kansas anymore.
No, and it's not Queens anymore either. No, it is not. All right, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice text stream before we get kicked. By the way, we've been kicked off Facebook.
You got kicked off Facebook?
We're back. Yeah, we got kicked off. Something happened on a video that apparently was against their rules, and I have no idea what it was. So we've been.
And they won't tell us.
Wow, that's
and
harsh.
David's taking it far more harshly than I am. I don't care.
Yeah, I understand. Spotify dropped one of my podcasts for one episode. I was pissed. I was angry. Sports with Friends. We're talking actually South Florida sports. Jonathan Zaslow, longtime radio host, longtime pre and post host for the Miami Heat. Recently got canned by Odyssey and started a podcast. So we're talking to Jonathan Zaslow. Great dude, great guy on Sports with Friends. Hall of Justice is Greg Grunberg. He was the star of the show Heroes. He was also in Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Great actor. He's in the new movie, The Fablemans. Greg Grunberg is going to be on Hall of Justice. And TechStream is the right way and the new way to back up your computer. A lot of these companies try to sell you McAfee and Norton and all these things. There's a better way to back up your computer, and we explain it on TechStream.
I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah.
Now you got me hooked with TechStream. How long is it before every actor in Hollywood has appeared in at least one Star Wars episode of something? Because it seems that there's not any show.
Well, his high school friend is J.J. Abrams. So when J.J. Abrams got the 2 Star Wars movies, Greg Grunberg got in him. Like he became part of the First Order. So we'll talk about that. But he's a great dude. Works a lot to cure epilepsy, and I'm talking to him in about 5 hours.
Wow, imagine that. Friends hiring friends. That doesn't happen in any industry.
Never happens.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and the public service that is TechStream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, all the best, to your Devils until Arsenal can play again.
We play Nashville and Philadelphia on Saturday. There's room on the bandwagon.
we. He went we.
Oh, he always goes we. It's part of
with
his
the
charm.
Devils, yeah.
Right. Not for Team USA, but for
No,
the
for the
Devils
New
and
Jersey
Arsenal.
Devils.
Right.
Go Team USA.
He's Seth Everett. And thanks for joining us once again, Seth, here on Miller and Moulton.
Lake City, Port Charlotte, Tampa, St. Pete. We'll do this all over again tomorrow. Thanks for listening. The bonus hour in the 239 is next on Miller and Moulton.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
30 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this final day of November, and it's a hump day to boot. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with our final thoughts, all coming up in 40 minutes' time. Hey, I didn't know this. I just read it during the break. Did you know that with the U.S. men beating Iran yesterday and advancing to the knockout stage, that the U.S. women's national team made $13 million?
Excuse me?
You know, there's been a lot in the last couple of years. The women said, listen, we're getting pennies on the dollar compared to what the men get. We're the one winning. They're not winning anything. Hell, they couldn't even qualify for the damn last World Cup. And, you know, we have to split our money with them. And as it is, we don't make a lot of money on the women's side. And so they've gone back and forth. And so the deal, which the men signed off on, I mean, it's not like the women, got the men, and pinned them down and got them to agree to, drink something they didn't want to drink. I mean, the men and women signed a collective bargaining agreement with the U.S. Soccer Federation. They split money evenly. Oh, the fact is, there's a hell of a lot more money in the men's World Cup than there is in the women's World Cup.
And it's not close. It was one of the reasons, and I understand why the women were complaining the way they were, but the men were getting paid because the men's World Cup draws more money. And that's pennies on the dollar from the women's side of it might even be pennies on the $100.
Think about this financial disparity. The women won the 2015 World Cup, won it. They got $2 million. They won the 2019 World Cup. They got $4 million. So they've won their last two World Cups, and they earned $6 million. By the men getting out of group yesterday, they earned $13 million. That's for the men and for the women. So they actually earned $26 million getting out of group. So the U.S. women's national team just earned over twice as much money watching Pulisic score yesterday than they have for winning the last two World Cups. And remember, some people are going to think that's outrageous one way, and some people are going to think that's outrageous the other. But the men and women did this together. This was the collective bargaining agreement that they together negotiated with the U.S. Soccer Federation. The men, to their credit, felt that, we're getting, just for showing up, we make more money than they make if they win World Cups. We don't think that's right. We do think they deserve more money. And so they agreed to pool their resources evenly, 50-50. Well, this is the financial disparity between men playing soccer and women playing soccer. And it's staggering.
Is it? I mean, because this is a World Cup. This isn't, they're getting paid by the world here. Is it really that staggering that there's this much disparity in pay?
To me, it is not. Obviously, in popularity, men's soccer is far more popular than women's soccer as a whole. For as much as we say the MLS is the sixth most popular men's soccer league, well, the National Women's Soccer League is barely off the ground. And this is their third attempt at it. So men's soccer is clearly far more popular than women's soccer, although we do get into the women in the World Cup and the Olympics. We do watch them. The
right.
numbers are good.
No, they are.
It's sometimes equal to the men. But, I mean, you got to me, so we've won the last, Mark, you've won the last 2 World Cups. You're awesome. You're the best. You get $6 million total for winning the last 2 World Cups.
And that's from FIFA, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, right. It's from the world governing body of soccer. It's not what the U.S. pays. It's from FIFA. Just making sure people understand. That's all.
So you're the best at what you do. And for doing it for damn near a decade, $6 million. I showed up and I was going to make that in 1 World Cup. I didn't even show up for the other one. I wasn't good enough. They wouldn't let me in the building for the last one. All right. This one, they let me in the building. Now, the fact that I got out of the first round, I'm going to make 4.5 times more for getting out of the first round of my tournament once than you're going to make for winning your tournament twice. So I'll tell you what, how about if we split it? And that's what the deal is.
And I applaud the U.S. men's national team for doing this. I'm not trying to say this, but this is not staggering to me. This is, I don't know if normal's the right word, but if 2 people do the exact same job and one's paid a lot more, I get the disparity. They're not doing, this is a totally different thing. This is paid on popularity. And the men's game worldwide is obviously much more popular. So I think, if anything, we should be applauding the men's national team for doing this because they didn't have to.
No, they didn't. They didn't. And who knows? I mean, the U.S. women's national team might be on strike, to be brutally honest with you, if the men hadn't agreed, to go along with this.
Would be a really big story if Brazil did this.
Or Iran. Now
Now
that would be a story. Right. But I just, just the money behind sports, how much bigger the one is than the other. Because remember, Mark, they're not getting 4.5 times more money for winning the World Cup, which would equal the accomplishment of the women. They're getting 4.5 times more money for just getting out of the first round once than the women did for winning it twice.
I gotcha.
But that's how big this sucker is.
Right. And women's sports worldwide are not that big. Women's soccer has just started in most parts of the world, and we should win every time we play. We're generations ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to women's sports. So,
by the way, apparently, my bad. Okay, the men got It's a $13 million payout. I said that the men and women each got $13 million. I read that wrong. My mistake. So they earned $13 million by winning yesterday, by getting out of group. So you split that evenly. The men got 6.5, the women got 6.5. So the women just got more money, though, for the men getting out of group than they did for winning their last 2 World Cups. They got $6.5 million. They got $6 million by winning the last 2 World Cups. And you're right. Like over in England a few months ago, they thought it was historic. Like England won a major national tournament and the women were selling out Wembley Stadium. And when the women from England and U.S. played a friendly a couple months ago, they sold it out again. And across the pond, they're like, this is earth shattering. This is literally moving. This is transcendent what is just taking place here.
And that just shows you how far behind the rest of the world is when it comes to women's sports. That's just the facts of it.
Right.
I'm not trying to sound like a chauvinist pig, and I think I'm coming across as one.
No, you're not. No, I don't think you are at all. Okay. And your point actually may be more, it probably is, not maybe, more accurate than my vantage point in terms of financially. To you, it's like, well, yeah, David, duh, this is the biggest damn thing in the world. I mean, that's why you're going to have the financial disparity that you have. I just wanted to point it out, though. To me, when you spell it out, it's like, damn.
Little contrasting styles of what Miller and Moulton do during the break. David read up on the soccer payouts for the women's national team. I found out that the United Nations put the baguette on the cultural heritage list. And I spent the entire break trying to figure out what the hell the UN's cultural heritage list is. And there are so many things on it that it didn't really do as much for the baguette as I thought that it did.
Would you care to elaborate?
Is this a good thing for the baguette, or is this an insult?
It's a good thing because it's part of the intangible cultural heritage as a cherished tradition to be preserved by humanity. I think that's a pretty big honor.
Yeah, that's big.
And I do love me a baguette. Like it with a little brie sometimes. I can just have the baguette with butter, David. I don't care if I pay a little more for it. I'm fine with that.
Do you agree with the UN's decision here?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Didn't realize you felt this strongly about it.
Flour, water, salt, yeast, David. Come on. You and I love our carbs. This is the highest honor one could give a carbohydrate.
Oh, Mark, when you put it that way. Now you got me. Quite frankly, now I want to be on the committee. I turned down being on a lot of committees. You know what? How do I get on this committee? Well, what's your qualification? Look at me. You don't think I know a good carb?
Right. You know a good carb. I don't know for the cultural heritage part if you're my go-to guy, David.
Probably not. You're not going to believe this. People might take a look at me and think I'm not sophisticated enough. I don't know.
So that is how Miller and Moulton spend the commercial breaks. David, in-depth report on the money that is being allocated to the U.S. women's soccer team based on the men advancing from group. I was reading about the UN putting a baguette on the intangible cultural heritage list.
And the funny thing is, if you were to physically look at the two of us, you would think it would be exactly reversed. You would think the older-looking fat guy, would be all over the baguette.
Miller and Moulton scouring Twitter for the next story during the commercial break. David finds his, and I find mine.
Pretty much sums up this show.
Felipe wants another crack at the clutch play of the day. He has begged me every commercial break since he ran it. He knows he made a mistake. He's pulled up the audio from the Pulisic goal on the Spanish call, and he wants to play it, and he's over there just chomping at the bit. We'll let the audience decide if Felipe can have another crack at glory when we come back. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka, The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Dad, the Red Wings had a cookbook. This goes back. Mark Kumpel, who I worked with he was the coach of a team I broadcasted. Kumpel told the story because he played for the Wings. And his name escapes me. It was one of their goaltenders. But he had, his name's Fried Fish. Go out, catch fish. Put in pan, fry. Eat, enjoy. That was the recipe.
I literally said the words last night. There is nothing better than throwing fish on the grill.
On the grill?
Yeah.
It's a lot better in the fryer.
Or fry fish, grill fish, just
you could do it.
warm cooked
I would
fish.
say, see, because grilled fish would be way down on my list of fish.
Really?
Yeah. I would rather saute it. I would rather fry it.
Saute some wahoo.
Wahoo, I might just want to eat right as I cut it. Raw. That's so good.
No, grilled wahoo is amazing.
Certain fish are grilled wahoo, but I'd rather have 5 wahoo. I'd rather have it raw.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Not at all. Wahoo sushi is some of the best sushi that there is. Are you high?
I don't think I've ever. Well, if I'd high, I'd want it.
Holy cow! Come on now.
If I was high, I'd want it right now. But
all right, I got to see how these votes are going. It's very 500 right now, Felipe.
No, Mello, I haven't, but I'd love to.
You have one vote, Felipe, from my mom.
Is it a yes vote from your mom?
It's a yes vote. Give the kid a break.
It's a phenomenal call.
I've got oh, now I have to argue with someone on text about women's sports. Jesus H. Christ.
No, we don't. That's not right. We did not bring up that subject that way. We were not in any way.
No. They're just telling me how great other countries are at women's sports. I get that the Chinese are good at fucking gymnastics. I get it. Does anybody not understand that 50 years before the rest of the world was playing women's sports, the United States was? That's the only point I'm making. We kind of are the trendsetters when it comes to women in sport. And we're still behind if equality. I get all of that stuff. But my goodness. Title IX was when?
72.
Thank you.
I believe.
And the rock climber from Iran might get fucking killed when she goes back to her country because she didn't wear a whatever in a competition to support the gal that was killed.
June is 72.
Man, KW, that would be a gem. If I found the Iranian call, no way I find that though. $30 seconds.
Is it who had the bicycle kick? Richarlison? Is that how you say his name? Do you know what I'm talking about from Brazil? He spelled it's Richarlison, Richalison. But there's no R's to roll other than Richarlison.
Richarlison. That sounds about right.
Okay.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. An important vote has just taken place during the commercial break of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com.
Votes coming in every style. This is very much, there's a write-in campaign, there's a text campaign, there's the Twitch chat room campaign, there's the, your mom's texting you personally, my phone's going off with personal texts, all wondering if Felipe gets a second shot.
Because he screwed up the play of the day earlier. I mean, the play of the day was obvious. U.S. needed to beat Iran to advance in the World Cup. It's the biggest damn tournament in the world. And we advanced. There was one goal in the match. And so you would think at 4:00 yesterday, the play of the day was done, right? No. Felipe went with Alex Ovechkin scoring more road goals than anyone else in the history of the league. And it was a nice call. And Ovi's great. And all that. But come on. It's not the play of the day.
It's amazing the angst that listeners can get from certain things because the yes votes for Felipe are there, and there are yes votes.
In the Twitch chat room, by the way, it's like, damn right, give him another, although one yes vote came with conditions, meaning he couldn't have an NBA reference for the rest of the week. I'll give him a second chance, but when we do, today was the day when and anything else. And during the commercial breaks, Felipe is fond of, Luka Doncic has 640-point games this year, and nobody's playing like Tyrese Halliburton. I'm just letting you know, Felipe, the yes vote for you getting a redo on the play of the day means for the rest of the week, you can't have anything to do with the NBA come out of your mouth.
It's funny that you mentioned that because for today was the day when I had an insane James Harden box score.
See, there you go.
There you go.
Well, so now remember.
That's gone now.
Right.
That's gone.
And then we have a listener who is from Brazil who always is texting about different Brazilian matches and different things. He's still upset with you over the Ronaldo play of the day when, Richarlison who scored the bicycle kick on the same day, how that couldn't be. He says, Ronaldo swept in a weak PK. Richardson painted a work of art that would made Da Vinci jealous. And that's what you're fighting. We've got a Pittsburgh fan that was upset that we ran an Ovechkin goal because apparently Sidney Crosby's still better than Ovechkin, and it bothers this guy. It is amazing. And I mean this with all sincerity. What can honk you off?
Felipe,
I absolutely love it.
A buddy of mine's a Capitals fan, and he texted me and he goes, I was thrilled with the play of the day, but I knew it was wrong right away.
So it looks like the audience has spoken, and it's basically banning you from the NBA for a week.
Oh, the rest of the week. It's hump day. I'm cool with this.
Well, we'll let them set the terms. Okay. It's definitely for the rest of the week, but it may extend, it may be 5 full days. You may have a week-long NBA ban.
I can tell you, Anthony's not going to be upset from Clutch Vodka to get another clutch play of the day. That's like a twofer for him.
That is true.
So I guess for the sponsor, for our audience that supports you, for the grief that you take from the two of us, although I can't say it's not warranted most times, I will give you a second shot at the play of the day. Felipe, what's the clutch play of the day?
Well, the only clutch play of the day comes from the United States versus Iran. Christian Pulisic with the greatest call.
Otra vez Tyler. Para Weston McKinney. Se mete Serginho. Vino para Serginho Dest. El toque medio. Pulisic. ¡Gol! De Estados Unidos, Christian Pulisic lo hizo, gran jugada, pero enorme jugada, y después este golpazo del 10 que dejó la vida por el gol, gana Estados Unidos 1-0.
Qué jugada, perfección, 3 toques rápido.
That's just beautiful.
I guess.
No, that's beautiful.
Andres Cantor, right?
Yep.
Tell you
What
what.
did he say?
You want me to give you a direct translation?
Hey, hold on. I know what he said. He said Pulisic scored.
There you go.
And it was beautiful. Thought I heard beautiful. I thought I heard magnifique.
Clutch Vodka play of the day. Should have been a couple hours ago, but what the hell?
What the hell? Better late than never.
The Dutch await.
Hey, I just hope we can get one of those calls. By the way, I love the fact he went triple. He only usually goes twice. He's got the appetizer, which is it happening live. That's like a 5-second deal. And then he kind of looks to his left, looks to his right, takes a deep breath, and it's like, okay, you want Pavarotti? I'll give you Pavarotti.
The third one, he was out of wind.
He was, but he tried to sneak in the dessert, a little pie there at the end.
And who doesn't love a little pie?
Exactly.
Have you guys watched any World Cup matches on Telemundo, by the way?
No.
Yes, I did in Mexico City. They didn't exactly have the English version.
Yeah,
yes. Yes, I did.
And the main reason that I don't do it is because I'm very much a soccer novice, and I very much want to be learning what it is that they're teaching. Hopefully they're teaching me a little bit about what's going on. So that wouldn't happen on Telemundo, although the goal calls are far more spectacular. That's without a doubt.
The natives were making fun of me watching the U.S. and Wales because I was getting all bent out of shape about the flopping and the acting. And I'm like, for goodness sakes, will you just suck it up? Get up. And that's even at some of our own players. And they were just looking at me like, you do not understand the beautiful game. This is how it is played. And I looked, and that somebody actually said that to me. Okay, you do not understand how it's played. And I go, no, I do understand, and I hate it.
And it's jumped right into the NBA. And it's really, to be honest, it's jumped into the NFL. Because there's not a pass that's thrown now. There is not one incomplete pass that's thrown where the player is not demanding defensive holding or pass interference.
Our very quick sidebar, to be serious for 10 seconds, even though this has been a fun segment. I think in the NFL, it's because it's a down and distance thing. So when you're 30, 40, 50 yards downfield, I mean, it's the most punitive penalty in the game. If they made it a 15-yard penalty, do you think the whining for pass interference would be as much as it is?
Yes.
I don't. But when you run 30, 40 yards downfield, man, if you can get a call, legit or not, that's a big deal. It could be your biggest offensive play of the day.
And in some games, it is.
Right. I was going to say, my team is Daniel Jones at quarterback and 4 wide receivers from Publix. You're darn right, that's a big offensive play. So, all right, Felipe. So that's the deal is no more association for at least the rest of the week, maybe even in through middle of next week. Those are the rules.
Unless Luka scores 100 in a game.
No, there is
you already broke your own violation
right
5 seconds into it.
By saying the name?
Yes.
Nothing involving the association.
For the rest of the week. What about that? Did you not understand the first? You are on association banishment.
That's it. It doesn't exist. They're not playing. You know who they are? The association to you is Ohio State and Alabama this weekend. You got it?
Whatever.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, I figured out why we got kicked off. Telemundo. Because we just got bounced again and can't get back on. Running those calls. Running those Telemundo calls. We literally just got taken off the air and I can't get back on Facebook. Copyright infringement.
Huh.
Same reason we can't run music and all that stuff. Now we can't run highlights. It's ridiculous.
Is it just Telemundo or is it?
I don't know, David. But I mean, literally, that's the only thing I can think of because we literally went off and I've been able to get us back on every time today and I can't get us on. They don't know what we are, Logic Man. They don't know we're a radio broadcast. For them, we're just a Facebook broadcast. Let me see what happens if I try to add us back on, but I'm guessing it's not going to happen. You've recently posted something that violates your Facebook policy, so you're temporarily blocked from using this feature. I got to go read the community standards, but that would be my guess. No, we cannot go live. Whatever. We're done with Facebook.
Twitch chat. Sorry. Twitch
I
chat.
can tell you, I'm Trenton. I know what it is. I'm telling you right now. We ran World Cup, and they've got high alert for that stuff. So that goals call, we've ran the Spanish thing a couple of times in the last week. So,
Twitch chat. I need your best, like from your hometown or what your mom taught you growing up. Best cures for a sore throat and like a
honey,
aggressive cough,
lemon,
and tea.
Give
me. Is there any other secrets? I don't know. There's secrets out there.
Ricola cough drops are the best.
They are awesome. I just had one earlier. It was great. Elderberry syrup?
Ooh, really? Just elderberry and sugar mixed together, Logic Man? Is that what you're saying? The elderberry liqueur?
I've heard bourbon is good. Is that a lie? I gargled salt and water last night. Yeah, I used that one.
Well, that's what someone said. The whiskey was on there. Honey, lemon, and whiskey. Gotcha.
I might go grab some tea at the stove.
How do you make the elderberry syrup? That's the question I have.
Salted prunes? Yeah, wash your hands, people. I think there's something going around in Southwest Florida. You know, a ton of people that are sick. There are a few people in this building that are also sick.
Ah, I gotcha.
Dried berries, sugar, and water? Why dried berries? I had 3 oranges this morning. Also, jumping in the ocean is great, but red tide exists.
I know.
So
the cure-all of salt water, it's not there for you.
yeah, that's one thing that was great about growing up in Miami. Just run into the ocean. I feel sick. I might take a dip. Boom. Go to the beach or whatever.
Oh, there you go, Logic Man. He said that elderberry syrup probably across the street at Sprouts.
Okay, great.
You know, have you ever been in there?
No, actually.
They got a whole thing of medicines and more, herbal supplements. So I would just literally go in and say, do you have elderberry syrup?
It's just like a better Publix.
No.
It's
like
disrespectful.
It's like a Whole Foods, but just vegetables. They have meat and fish. It's Whole Foods, but smaller.
I'll get my tea there. Ay. It's killing me. Ten seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until the top of the hour, 17 minutes until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Slow sports night. No football for another day. U.S. not back in the World Cup till Saturday morning. So, chance to catch your breath. Might be a nice night, if, I don't know, you haven't put the Christmas tree up yet or something.
How long has your tree been up?
Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, I'm surprised it wasn't a little earlier.
It was only that that long a wait because my wife physically could not do the tree this year. She hurt her left shoulder. And because, Mark, normally first weekend of November, I go on the road for football. I come back, the tree's up.
Right.
And it frosts me to no end.
And I love it.
And so does she.
And I just love that you get frosted by it because you know it's going to happen.
Well, yeah, and obviously I can't stop it. I'm out of town. I mean, that's when I knew, she was having an affair.
Now you've got the daughter and mother-in-law, and you get the whole crew in that house. I mean, they can do some damage Christmas decorating on you, too.
Right. And I knew he wasn't going to make the move from Fort Myers to Jacksonville. So, I knew she was by herself. She needed me to do the tree. She had to be nice to me. By the way, for those, I'm kidding. My wife has not had an affair. And,
as far as we know.
Right. But, from best I can tell, if she was, he hasn't made the move to Jacksonville. So, anyway.
We'll say the 2:00 matches are interesting. The Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland, Argentina. There's a lot going on with that group. So the 2:00 World Cup game should be pretty intriguing.
Well, Mexico needs to win and get help, right? They need, I think, the favorite to, they need Argentina to win, right?
Believe so.
Are they in the same group?
Yeah. That's how they play at this point. So,
right. So Mexico needs to win, and then they need the favorite to do their job, to win.
Well, they and I don't know if they're the favorite. They need Poland to win. They need to beat Saudi Arabia, and they need Poland to beat Argentina.
Really?
Because Poland has 4 points. Poland has a win and a draw. Argentina has a win and a loss.
Ooh, look at that. I don't know. I don't like their chances.
I don't either.
So Argentina, how about that? Germany needs a result today. Well, not today. I think they play like tomorrow.
They're tomorrow.
But Germany's last in their group. They need a win and some help. Argentina needs a win. A draw may not get it done. And be something. Get some of these big boys out. And what was it? Italy didn't even qualify this year. They didn't make it out of group last time around. I mean, here we are giving Team USA a hard time.
Well, that's our job.
I agree. It shows we care.
Once every 4 years, and in this case, once every 8.
I'll tell you what, though. Going to be a lot of pressure on Team USA in 4 years. When we're hosting the sucker, come on now, boys. It's just getting out of group. No. It's get out of group and win some matches.
Well, then it's 48 next time, so it's going to be maybe winning a couple matches past group, however this thing's set up.
Everything's going bigger, Mark. College football, World Cup. They're going to ruin the NCAA basketball tournament.
They really are, too, aren't they?
Well, I mean, if Greg Sankey wants it to happen, when doesn't it happen?
Time now for...
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
This was just for me. 1487, the first German beer purity law was put into effect by Albert IV, the Duke of Bavaria, stating that beer should only be brewed from 3 ingredients: water, malt, and hops. Way to go, Duke. 1956, at 21 years, 10 months, 3 weeks, and 5 days, Floyd Patterson becomes the youngest world heavyweight boxing champion, knocking out Archie Moore in the 5th round in Chicago. He would be the first Olympic gold medalist to win a professional heavyweight title. Today,
I'm sorry. He started kind of, the run, and then in the 60s, obviously, we went Clay, Frazier, Foreman, 60, 64, 68.
Today in 1971, tonight in 1971, many women witnessed their husbands crying for the very first time. And I mean bawling, because Brian's song premiered on ABC. The story of Brian Piccolo with James Caan and Billy D. Williams. Felipe, have you ever seen Brian's song? Probably not, because you're...
No. I have no idea what that is.
It's a movie about Brian Piccolo and Gail Sayers. They were teammates. Brian Piccolo dies of cancer. It's a true story. And I'm not joking when I tell you women saw men cry for the first time. It was like the first movie out there, first guy movie that we went, what? No, don't do that. Today in 76, Tony Dorsett wins the Heisman. 1979, Pink Floyd's The Wall is released. It would sell 6 million copies in 2 weeks.
I was one of them. You were 10. Did you get it right away?
Got it for Christmas from my parents.
Cool. Wow. Cool parents.
And I
getting
was
you the
scared
Wall.
to death to put it on because I didn't know what else, all at that point I'd really heard was another brick in the wall. And where is this going to go? And then when you get to Mother, was the first cringe moment in the house.
And that's when you look at him and go, hey, you bought it for me.
Damn right.
Can't yell at me.
Today in 82, the movie Gandhi was released, and David started his criminal enterprise because Thriller was released today in 1982. Music stores in Jersey were never the same after that.
No, they weren't. Well, I'll tell you what. A few months later, they upgraded their security. I'll tell you that.
86, Yvonne Lendl is the first player to make over $10 million in career earnings. 1991, San Diego State's Marshall Faulk becomes the first freshman to capture the national rushing and scoring titles. It's pretty good,
So we did the San Diego State-Arizona game to start this year in college football, and he was there. He was being honored. New stadium and all. They brought back their best ever football player. And so they show the highlights. I mean,
damn.
His NFL highlights or something, but man, to see how much better he was than who he was competing against in college.
Just to see the damn shoulder pads that he was running with, David, was worth it.
Exactly.
Schindler's List premiered today in 93. The Jags were announced as the NFL's 30th franchise today in 93.
So let me get this straight. Gandhi and Schindler's List on the same day, huh?
Yeah. The Wall and Thriller.
Well, but I'm just saying Gandhi and Schindler's List. Couple of toe tappers.
Oh, charming movies. Ken Jennings lost today in 2004.
Yes. By the way, can you believe it's been 18 years?
I know.
This guy's been around for 18 years?
For a run on Jeopardy.
It was a big run, though. I mean, he went on Letterman, The Tonight Show.
2.5 Schmilly won. Today in 2015, Kobe announced his intention to retire at the end of the season. In the Iron Bowl 3 years ago, Auburn beats Alabama 48-45.
That was the Mac Jones Iron Bowl. Tua had been hurt the week before.
Those born today that are no longer with us. Pretty good names today, David. Mark Twain, Winston Churchill, Dick Clark, and Bill Walsh. Those celebrating birthdays today. Abby Hoffman is 86. Paul Westphal, 72. Billy Idol, who we actually mentioned on the show earlier today, is 67. Bo Jackson is 60.
I know. That's a wow you're old moment for those of us of a certain generation.
Ben Stiller is 57. Pudge Rodriguez is 51. Minnie McCready is 47. Chrissy Teigen and Kaylee Kuko are both 37 years old today. And that, David, is today was the day when. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. I'm going through my list here. No, not really. I mean, first Thanksgiving college football game was ever played. Talk about a toe tapper. It was 2-0.
Ooh,
and of course, these things all took place in Jersey. Princeton Rutgers was the first college football game. Yale Princeton was the first Thanksgiving game. 1,000 people in Hoboken back in the day.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Atlanta for the good, where Alandria Worthy was in labor, and her fiance was driving her to the hospital. She made him stop at the McDonald's because she needed to use the bathroom. She went into the bathroom. Her water broke immediately, and she started screaming. The manager walked in to see what was happening, And all of a sudden, well, it was time. She gave birth in the McDonald's to Nandi Araya Miormi Phillips, nicknamed Nugget.
So did Dad just sit in the parking lot and going, man, she's taking a long time? Or did Dad go, you know what, getting kind of hungry? Did he go through the drive-thru?
He was in the restaurant. He
Yeah,
came in to check on and helped out. But basically 3 pushes later, the baby was out. Again, nicknamed Nugget. That's outstanding.
My grandchild's named Oakland.
We go to Hawaii for the bad, where a young man decided he wanted to steal a car, and Chasen Sabino has been charged after impersonating a valet driver and stealing a Chevy Malibu. It's the bad because if you're going to steal a car as a fake valet driver, you've got to do better than a Chevy Malibu first. And secondly, I don't think any of the islands of Hawaii are great places to steal cars. You don't really have what's called a getaway there, David.
No, and that's important.
And for the ugly, I struggled today. The stories weren't that great, but I do like it when these things happen. 1/3 of Dixon, Tennessee lost their power because a squirrel entered the substation and knocked out power for 1/3 of the town. I don't know how squirrels manage to knock out power for towns, but don't you think we should build these things squirrel-proof?
Well, I don't know if you remember, it was earlier this year, living in Fort Myers. Remember the raccoon?
Yeah.
Up on the wires, chewing on the wires, and obviously bit the wrong wire too hard and blew itself up and cost us power for a few hours. They had to come and they had to repair the wire. I had the dead, raccoon right there in my yard.
Well done.
Oh, and you heard it too.
Raccoon best at medium well. Not terrible at well done.
It was well done.
That's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, November the 30th, 2022.
I will say one thing that I probably should have thrown in just from the musical artists who do this, and it looks funny so many years later. Elton John released his greatest hits album today in 1974. He's performing his last shows in North America this month.
That's why I always like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Their album was greatest hits so far.
Right.
4 games in the NHL tonight. Your Rangers are at Ottawa, the Sharks and the Leafs, Sabres at Detroit, and Edmonton at Chicago.
We'll say, though, your Wings get a little TNT action tonight. When's the last time Buffalo and Detroit got national television? Edmonton, Chicago. The Blackhawks have won 6 games this year, but they get the TNT treatment. You get to see Connor McDavid at 9:30.
Put him on every time that you can.
13 NBA games. 13.
The Heat in Boston, they're a 9-point dog. That's how tough the Celtics have been at home.
10-1, I believe, Celtics are at home. Only loss of the 2 tenants in that building at home this year. The hockey team's 13-0. Think about that. Bruins and Celtics are 23-1 in that building so far this year.
Absolutely crazy. The Magic are at home against the Hawks, where they're just a 6-point dog.
Yeah, dude. Does Vegas have information that like Atlanta went partying? I'm wondering, did they stop off maybe at home? Are they flying in today? I mean, do they have some information? So, and there you have it. Usually it's an ESPN doubleheader on Wednesday, but we got nothing.
Really?
Yeah, no NBA double dip tonight. No. Got Heat Celtics on NBA TV and Lakers Blazers on NBA TV. Imagine that. The Lakers are Yeah, they're 7-12. But
Hey, you put on who you put on. We know that's the way that it goes.
listen, Barkley said the other day, but put the Sacramento Kings on instead of the Lakers. They're fun. Chuck, it's your network. They're paying your $15 million salary. Shut up.
Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters